fabulous fabric from the land of the five rivers.
Years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
We back. Man, y'all already know what time it is.
Oh, you didn't know?
50-50.
Welcome to the 50-50 Show with Pharaoh NFL and the Severe Raider, the realest show for Raider Nation.
The perpetuation of the greatness of the Raiders to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others.
Make sure to clock in, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Man, y'all already know what time it is, man. It's the 50-50 Show. Myself, Pharaoh NFL. Obviously, my guy, the Severe Raider. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Man, another week, another 50-50 show. We got a lot to talk about. Man, Kubiak, Spytek, Mark Davis, they all were talking today, especially with the annual owners meeting. Yeah. And I think they took that they took the coaches' photo. Every year they take those photos. It's funny because from year to year, man, it's funny to see like how there's different people in those pictures. I mean, like, for what this year? I mean, who's the most consistent? I'm trying to think like. Shanahan, McVay.
Yeah, Reed.
Probably could throw in the coach for the Vikings, but his days might be
O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell.
His days might be numbered though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, drafting JJ McCarthy.
If they don't go to the playoffs, like Shanahan at least Shanahan was going to the playoffs, going to the Super Bowl. Like that's why he could survive a Trey Lance. Now you pivoting and you going to
facts.
quarterback. You better win. You better win. Right now, the scapegoat was the GM, so they're gonna give you like maybe a year to see what's gonna happen. But I'm trying to think, man.
Sirianni been pretty consistently there.
Been there. I was gonna say the Bills coach, but he got fired.
Yeah,
this year he was there for a minute.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a lot of new coaches.
It's a lot of changes.
A lot of new coaches, including the Raiders, as usual. Man, they got as usual. They got a new head coach in Kubiak, so he was able to talk to the media.
Agree, DJ.
Y'all,
you ain't lying, DJ.
For this coming season with more legend, 2002 Raiders, 26 Raiders. That's what we doing. Hey man, that's what we doing. Hey, guess what? That's gonna be the intro for a long time.
A long time.
But now we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to click in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. The late night show, the night crew, man. We appreciate everybody coming through. Franklin in the building, man. Appreciate you. Emmanuel was good. Appreciate you. Yeah, man, like I was saying, the Raiders were out in full force today as far as the front office, the owners, Mark Davis, obviously he was in owners meeting. He was also there for a lot of different reasons. He's there because it's part of what they do. It's what they do every year, but also there's a vote for the succession plan. We'll get into that conversation in a little bit. We kind of touched on it before when the news first broke, but now it officially passed. So I believe 3.5% of the team, as far as how much, I think, was it Ergon Durbin?
Yeah, Egon Durbin.
I believe they approved 3.5% of the sale of the team, and then later this year, another 3.5. Another 3.5% is going to be up for vote, which most likely is going to be voted for. And Mark was all calm, cool, and collected. He was like, "Hey, look, this is just part of what the NFL makes us. Part of what we have to do. We have to have a plan." And and he kind of came out and said it. I don't have any wife. I don't have a wife, and I don't have any kids. For all the people that was like saying that he didn't, saying that he might have a kid. Because of some recent Instagram post, which I thought was strange. I was kind of like looking at it like, what's going on here? But he kind of came out and like squashed all that right there and said like, yeah, I don't have a wife, I don't have kids, so we have to have a plan in order, if something were to happen.
He went full Billie Jean. He said, she's not my lover, and the kid is not my son.
TK said, y'all don't want to hear my theory on that. Y'all don't want to hear my theory.
He said, no, TK. TK, he shot me his theory. He said, look, Mark Davis said the kid is not my son. He said, Billie Jean is not my lover. Man. Just the girl, that's the I am the one.
Man, for sure. And he came out and he just said, like, hey, this is what we have to do, especially because, a few months ago, Raiders ownership included him and his mother. Obviously, mother's passed. Now they have to, have something, a plan for, if something were to happen. Now, it doesn't mean that Durbin would get the team automatically. He just would have first opportunity to buy the team. That's all that. Which, if you think about it, that's almost like if he really wanted a team, he's probably going to get the team. He got first dibs.
Yeah, he got the money to do it. He has the money to do it. And not like he doesn't have to buy all of the team. He just has to buy the controlling interest of the team.
He did
he'd add yet at the end of it. Oh, did he say yet? Come on, Mark, don't do it, bro. You 70-something years old, dog.
He said, did he add yet? Oh, hold on. I got the quote. I retweeted it. I was I think I retweeted something here. Let me pull this up.
Don't do that, Mark.
Let me pull this up. Let's see here. What did he say here? What did Mark do? He says, I don't have any children or wife at this time. He said at this time. He didn't say yet.
At this time.
At this time.
Look, it's same thing. Same thing.
But then, oh well, yeah. At this time.
Yeah.
See, Mark trying to be a player about it, like, at this time.
Mark, yeah.
You should come out and say, if he said never, I would have respected it. Like, I'm never gonna
Bruh.
Like, I don't know. But he said, I don't have a 7-9 wife at this time, and so it was prudent to put together a succession plan that would make sure that there were no issues should something happen to me or should I decide. That's crazy that he just did this now. He waited all the way to now. So yeah, it is what it is, man. This is just, another day in business. I think, but what makes it interesting is ownership. How much the percentage of what Mark Davis owns of the team, it drops kind of closer to the 30% threshold, which is like basically
the minimum
of to have majority ownership in the team. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Like, he's kind of pushing it all the way down to the limit. Emilio says, how y'all feel about the Trey getting praise? Yeah, we seen that.
I saw that. I like it. If he's in there, I think he said, he just loves the way he plays. I think he said he compared him to Max in terms of his work ethic and stuff like that. I would hope Trey's putting in hella work because he ain't put up hella production. So you need to, especially get a new coaching staff in here, going to have a new quarterback. This is your chance to really put your best foot forward and, make a good impression. You only get the one chance to make a first impression. So if that's the coach's first impression of you, I think that can only be a positive. But at the end of the day, what you do between those white lines matters more than anything, bro. You could be first one in, last one out. You could bringing them coffees and bagels and doing all this stuff. What you do between them white lines when it actually counts, that's what's gonna matter the most.
See, the thing about Trey though, he's the type of player that coaches love.
Oh yeah,
because he does the dirty work. He's not the biggest guy, but he does the dirty work. He's actually
he's a good blocker for it. Yeah, he's a really good blocker.
Yeah, and not just for his size. He's a good blocker.
Period. Yeah, period.
Exactly. And then he does have some traits. He got some speed. So I'm sure, okay, this is a guy, high character guy. Since he's been in the building, because he made that comment, like, he's noticed that he's been there day in, day out, as far as a guy that he's consistently seen in the building in the offseason. So he's like, man, and he probably looked into who Trey Tucker was and what he brings to the table. It's not that I don't hate Trey Tucker. It's just that it just becomes a little bit shaky when he's your projected starter. I'm just like, that's where I'm like, all right, but as like a number 3, 4, I'm cool with that. And it's a big time year for him. This is last year as far as last year on his rookie deal. So we'll see. Yeah. We'll see what happens to see if the Raiders take advantage of that momentum. He takes advantage of that momentum and he has a big year. We'll see, because Kubiak's one of those guys, like, he's going to maximize the players that he has on offense. I mean, I think everywhere he's gone, I don't think you can say that Kubiak has a type as far as what he likes to do on offense.
Yeah, facts.
Because he hasn't been there. He hasn't been in places long enough for you to even know if he has a type. He's just gone there and then he just used the players that he has available to him. I mean, like, you can look at, I think you can't compare to what he did with the Saints to what he did with the Seahawks. Not as far as output, but what the offense looked like, as far as, like, I don't know if they were running a lot of 2 tight end sets with the Saints as much as they were doing.
Not really.
You know what I mean?
Because you have Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave, and so.
Different, but that's to my point though. What I'm saying is that, like, he's gonna work with what the team got. I think you can probably say that he's probably gonna bring a little bit what he did with Seattle with the Raiders, because we might have some pieces there that, like, would probably help what he did in Seattle. Like, for example, like, Michael Mayer, for all the Michael Mayer guys. I know, Severe, you're high on Michael Mayer, so he might do some things in his offense.
I'm high on Michael Mayer, but I think he's talented. I think he's talented. I was high on Michael Mayer, no lie. But like I said, bro, I'm not. I for sure was high on Michael Mayer. Like I said, I'm one of those people. Look, bro, if you don't produce, what I mean?
When that 5th round hits, when that 5th round, 6th round hits, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not. I want
get his replacement.
If they see a guy before that, look, if the value is there, I'm not mad at it. Like, 'cause I think Michael Mayer's talented, but like I always say, bro, I'm unbiased in my take. What you do between them lines is what's gonna matter the most at the end of the day. So if you ain't producing, ain't gonna be no excuses. And like, look, you ain't producing, bro. I can't say you good if you ain't producing.
Yeah, and I think he's in a contract year. I think he's in a contract year.
Yeah, this should be his last year. It should be his last year.
Contract year, so he might have a big year. Possibly. Yeah. But it's hard to tell, man, because like he's not going to be the main guy. We're talking about like a guy that's going to be a secondary guy, and there's so many people that might get ahead of him. You never, we don't know, and we don't know what a big year will look like for Mike. I'm not gonna lie. If you get, I think we talked about this before, like around 500 yards. Yeah, receiving,
and that's kind of a lot. That's kind of a lot too for a second tight end too. That's kind of a lot right there. So
500 yards, 5-6 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's a really good year.
That's a really good year for a second tight end. Yeah. But we'll see, man. We'll see what it looks like. We got some time to talk about that, but yeah, I guess we can segue to Kubiak because he was also able to talk to the media. I know it's a lot of like that monotone, you know what I mean? Like he's not going to give you too much as far as emotion and excitement. I'm not saying he's not excited, but it's very monotone type of delivery. But, he said all the right things. I think him and Spytek are all kind of repeating the same thing in regards to not Mark Davis, but Max Crosby. I'm sure that was that was a popular question that was asked to both, and they're like, we didn't lose out of that. Like we got Max Crosby. Like we got a player that is obviously one of the best players in the league, and yada da da. So they're just trying to brush this under the rug, but I still don't think that this means that Max Crosby won't be traded. It's just I feel like the Raiders have done a good job where they haven't pushed themselves in a corner. As well as you could put Max too. He hasn't pushed himself in a corner. You might argue that because he's the one that kind of wanted to get traded. But still, like, there's no bad blood between them in order for them to keep going and seeing what's going to happen next as far as him playing with the team. So
I think it was like mutual. I think it was there a little bit of mutual desire from both parties to move on. But what's ironic is that you can kind of see the difference between like a GM's thought process and the coach's thought process. Because when Kubiak was asked about Max, he was like, "Oh yeah, you know what? Hey, when I heard Max was back, I was happy. It's like, oh yeah, that's just our team is better now. Max he's our best defensive player. He's gonna help us go out there and win some games." Mm-hmm. But then when Spytek, he was talking about it, and he was like, "Oh, you know what?" He said all the right things about Max. He's a good player, first person in, always in the building. And he said the last thing he said was, "I think he's going to be a really good player for a very long time." But he didn't say, "I don't think he's going to be a very good Raider or a very good player for the Raiders." He said, "I think he's going to be a very good player for a long time."
Yeah.
So he left it open a little bit, so where, look, I'm not making any commitment to him being here and being a good player. Yeah. Where Kubiak was like, "Oh man, he's gonna be our best defensive player. He's gonna go out there and help us win some games." And Spytek was like, "Yeah, he's gonna be a good player. He could be a big good player for the Bills or for the Patriots. He could be a good player for any of these other teams."
Yeah.
What I'm saying is not untrue.
Yeah. No, Spytek is slick.
He's slick. Yeah.
And,
I like Spytek.
I'm telling you, man. Like Spytek is giving me hope. And if you want to point to anything about the Raiders, Spytek is giving me hope because he's doing things that I haven't seen from a Raiders GM in a long time, if ever at all. Like he's being coy. He's good with the media enough where he's not giving away what moves that he's gonna do. Some of the stuff that we just talked about right now, where he's kind of like he says things in a way where it's almost like he's right there where he's going to be like, yeah, Max is going to be here, you know what I mean, for the rest of his career. But he stops short of that, where he kind of gives a little bit of space where, it also leaves a little bit of room where like, well, I don't know, maybe there might be a chance. And that's probably where GMs call in and they be like, hey,
Exactly. Exactly. Is he available?
Is he available?
It's just gonna hurt because man, at 14, that's what's gonna hurt me. But yeah, man, like I like Spytek. I think Spytek is really good at dealing with the media. I'm getting used to Kubiak's monotone. I think at some point, like if and when the Raiders start winning, I think that's gonna be like it's gonna be a meme. Like people are it's gonna be like a just like if we suck, oh then they gonna kill them for like not having any fire, not paying any passion or any emotion. But if we're winning, it's gonna be like, oh man, this guy, look at this guy. He's so there's a little Kubiak, the same, like the same old guy, even kill. So it's just one of those things. That's just his personality. But I'm at first I hated it, but I'm getting used to it now.
Yeah. Now, to be honest with you, man, like with I'm not gonna get too high or get too low with Kubiak, because I've seen every type of coach come in. If we're being honest.
Facts.
We've seen the experience, overconfident coaches. We've seen like guys coming in and go Raiders. We've seen every type of coach come through. At the end of the day, it don't matter. What are you gonna do on Sunday? Are you developing this team? Are you gonna win football games? In this case, like they're in a rebuild. Is there gonna be a certain level of improvement? Is there hope with this team with you at head coach? Like, I don't really care about anything else. I got a personality. There's so many different personalities that's winning football games on Sundays. Like, I'm not really tripping off that. It's hard for me to predict. Like, oh man, he said that with so much confidence. Oh, he's a leader of men. Like, nah. We've seen guys where we're like, oh, like we've seen the Pete Carrolls. We've seen the obviously the Antonio Pierces. We've seen the Josh McDaniels who comes with all the accolades of winning Super Bowls and the resumes of that. And then we've seen like John Gruden, the second iteration of that, and he comes in with the hit, having so much power in the building. We've seen so many different types of coaches come through. Like at this point, what it really comes down to are you a good coach? And that's the only way we can find that out is basically let the games play. So right now he's saying all the right things. Is it in a monotone voice? Yeah, it is what it is. But it's same thing. It's same attitude I have with Mendoza. Like, we hear Mendoza talk, you're like, oh, well, is this gonna be a starting NFL? I don't know, man. Is he gonna be the leader in that? Nah. At the end of the day, what matters is production. It's a production-based business. Like, if he comes in there, puts in the work, shows that he shows up, first one in the building, lead by example. That's all that matters. People are gonna respect that.
Not facts. Like you said, like I said before, it's like that stuff only matters if you're not winning. If you're winning, nobody will say a word about it.
Yeah.
But as soon as the second you don't win, then people are going to be looking at it sideways. Like, okay, could this be the issue? Is this the issue? Like that's how it goes.
Yeah. No, facts. This needs just says Spytek is never too high, too low. He's realistic, straightforward. This version needs that. Now, facts. Facts, man. I'm telling you, Spytek is the guy that's giving me hope. A lot of people were throwing him under the bus. Obviously, the season didn't go the way that some fans thought. I wasn't surprised by it. You know what I mean? But I'm I'm never gonna like co-sign firing a GM after 1 year. Yeah. And that's why back then I was like, hey, look, you got to give a GM like 5 years. Now, some people be like, that's a little too much, on the high end. But my point is you got to give a GM a good amount of time, more than you would even give a head coach, just because a lot of what they do is thinking well ahead into the future for the team. Like a coach, you can evaluate him year to year. Obviously, you don't want to get rid of a coach after 1 year, but after 2 years, it kind of drops down a little bit. The threshold drops down a little bit. Like you can evaluate him. Like, did he lose the locker room in the second year? I don't know if you want to bring him back. After 1 year, I don't think you should fire him unless like some extreme thing happened. Third year comes around, that's when you can really evaluate a coach. I feel like this fourth for a GM, I think it's a year more. Got to give him another year more. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I agree with that. 2 4 years, at least 2 4 years for a head coach, 3 years for a GM.
Yeah.
Because GM has to.
That's the threshold. That's the threshold.
Yeah, at least at the minimum, unless the GM is just doing like, unless you just doing retarded stuff, then you're like, all right, bro, I gotta get you out of here. But you gotta give them some time, because with the GM, like you said, they have to be thinking like, long term, but at the same time, they have to, like, at some point, your plan has to come into fruition. So it can't be like, you thinking long term forever, like, like.
Yeah.
And like it'd be like you forever saving money, like, bro, okay, like, but what for? Like, at some point you gotta use these resources for something, or we need to get some return on what we're saving or this investing. Like, it has to come back for us at some point. So like you said, that after the 3 year, that's when you can kind of really justify or judge a draft class, and you could kind of see, like, what have you been building, not only with the draft class, but with free agency and the coaching staff that, hopefully the GM was involved in hiring. Like, all that stuff by year 3 should start coming together, and you should start making some headway.
Yeah, I think by year 3 you could start, like, all right, looking at, like, all right, where are we at with the GM? What's going on here? You start evaluating where the GM's at. But I think more than likely he should get longer than 3 years, in my opinion. I think, especially the Raiders too, bro, they have zero level of consistency at all at head coach or GM. And you want to point to why the Raiders aren't good is because they have different people every other year. So a guy comes in, he has the previous regime players. And then that guy is like, oh, I don't know these players, lets them go. But we as fans, we recognize, like, hey, that guy's pretty good. Oh, that guy's like, but it happens all the time. New regime comes in, there's going to be casualties of the war. Like, it is what it is. Like, certain players get left behind, and they're going to have to rebuild it from their vision. Then it starts over. And if you keep doing that, then you're going to get the same results. You're going to get the same results, same inconsistencies. And in the Raiders' case, they can't get, like, they're doing things backwards where if we're getting into, like, what their problem is. The problem is that they're looking for the superstar head coach, and then they're, like, looking at the GM as like, just get whoever. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, get whoever that you feel like will do your bidding. But that doesn't work, because then what happens when you got to fire the head coach? You're gonna have to fire the GM too, because you didn't really believe in him to begin with, because that was his guy. So it just makes sense with the Spytek situation to give me hope, is because I feel like they got someone that actually can make, like, he's an actual GM. And it showed when, hey, season was coming around, some of the young players need to get up there, and then, like, word got out to Pete Carroll. We start seeing some of the young guys get on the field. Then Max wanted to, was told that he couldn't continue to play. I'm sure that came from, like, Spytek. I'm sure Spytek was like, hey, we got to get this #1 pick, man.
Facts.
And, it didn't happen, but if that first round pick, in my book, he made the deal. Yeah. He did his job. He did his job right there. If it was any other team, he made the deal. Yeah. The deal would have went through if it was any other team. But then, we found out that the Ravens are scumbags, It is what it is. But I don't know. I like what I'm seeing with Spytek. I mean, every time I hear him talk, the way he just addresses the media, it's just like he's just real savvy. And I think he's doubling. He's smart. He's doubling down on some of the things, because he spoke to the media. I know he said I don't know if he spoke to the media today, but I know for sure he did yesterday.
He spoke at the owners meeting, yeah.
And I know that they asked him about, was there a question that you weren't going to sign the free agents after the Max Crosby, trade didn't go through? Was there a question? He's like, no. We don't ever, we don't operate like that. Kind of like a little shot to
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay, yeah. And when you say stuff like that, it's two things. That was a shot at the Ravens, but also it kind of like, makes the Raiders look like a classy organization. Like, hey, this is where you want to come. We don't do business like that. Come talk to us. Like, and it's funny too. I was talking to someone today, and I was like, you know what? Like, back when McKenzie was the GM, we talked about how like one of his weaknesses was like his ability to get good trade value. It wasn't really that good. Like he, from the trade down from number 3 to forgot where he would trade down all the way to like 12 to get
12,
to draft DJ Hayden. It was like he just picked up a 3rd round pick.
I forgot what it was. It was trash.
It was terrible. And we spoke about this before, and it was like that's the type of deal that even though it was on the table and that was the only deal available to you, that's where you just hang up the phone, because if you accept that trade, then everybody around the league is not going to take you serious. They're just going to keep continuing to like,
they look at you like a mark. Like, this dude, I can swindle this dude.
Exactly. But with Spytek, he's slowly but surely kind of developing a reputation. And eventually, when he's on a negotiation table with some of these teams, whether it's with Max Crosby or any other future trade, now teams are going to respect what Spytek has to say, or they might have to come with a real offer in order for him to listen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the opposite. With Spytek, I feel like he's developing this reputation now. Like, hey, all I'm trying to say is that it feel like the Raiders got a real GM in Vegas. Real GM. That's crazy to say out loud. 3 years in a row with a new GM and head coach.
Yeah, basically.
We haven't. When's the last time that happened? What?
I can't even think of the last time it's happened in the NFL.
3 years in a row?
No, usually GMs don't get fired.
Oh, you talking about like a new GM and head coach? Yeah, that's disgusting.
Yeah. I can't think of another time it's happened with another organization. To be honest with you, I can't even remember when it's happened. So that's crazy. But I think Spytek is he's operating in the correct way, especially when it comes to negotiations. Like I said, you're never going to win a negotiation you're not willing to walk away from. And I think when Reggie McKenzie, when he made that trade, I think he was just hell bent on not picking at 3. So I think that he was going to probably end up picking DJ Hayden at 3, and he was like, "Look, I can't pick DJ Hayden at 3, so I gotta get out of this pick." But it's almost like, sometimes the trade, like, the situation depends, because I think there was a situation with Mike Mayock, right? When we took Clee at 4, Mike Mayock didn't want to take Clee at 4. I'm sure Gruden didn't want to take Clee at 4, but I don't think they got the trade offers that they wanted to get. I'm sure some teams tried to move up, but they were probably offering the Raiders some BS. And the Raiders were like, you know what? We're not going to take that trade. We're going to take Clee at 4. They was like, why you take Clee at 4? Why'd you trade back? So it's like, sometimes, you gotta pick your battles. Sometimes you gotta say, you know what? Hey, if this is the most I can get for it, and I'm gonna still end up getting the player I want, okay, maybe it's worth it. But you understand that when you go through the negotiation process, as long as your process is correct, and you go through the negotiation process, and you walk into a situation where, like, look, I'm going to take this player here anyway. At least I can get extra something for him. Then sometimes you get what you can get out of that situation. But sometimes you got to take an L. Sometimes you got to charge this to the game. Like, maybe Mike Mayock felt, I know I got to charge this to the game. I'm just going to take this player just on the principle that I'm not going to take a bad trade. Yeah. So, sometimes some people operate like that. But, like, you got to pick those battles, and you got to be intelligent in how you pick them.
That's tough. That's a tough call. Hey, you know what? Just to give, I'll give McKenzie credit, but this is an easy one. I think he was the GM when Matt got traded.
Technically, yes. Technically, I want to say.
So that trade, in terms of value and what the Raiders got, I thought was pretty good. Yeah, they got pretty good value in that trade. Now, should have Matt got traded? That's a whole different conversation. But I'm just saying, like, the value
what they do with them picks.
That was probably McKenzie's best trade. But like there was other trades where I was just like, ugh. Like, what are the Raiders doing? Like, anytime the Raiders had a deal during the McKenzie area, I was just like, man, like, we couldn't get more?
Yeah.
But I don't know. With Spytek, it's a whole different story. I mean, to me, I know you were like, you weren't really high on the trade, but I thought what they got out of the Myers trade was pretty solid
I think it was solid.
Just based off like the leverage and like the whole situation, everybody knew that Myers didn't want to be there. Like everybody knew that Myers didn't want to be there. It was just like kind of like super obvious. Trade deadline was coming, and you know Myers' value is kind of one of those like he's a good player. You know what I mean? Good to really good player. So it's kind of hard. And then the year before, what did Devontae go for? And he's like a really good to great player. You know what I mean? Like he's a step above, you know, a guy like Myers. He went for a 3rd round pick. So it's kind of like, for them to get like a 4th, 6th, I like that. I was gonna say something. I lost my train of thought. But make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Yeah, man. You know, this is the off season, so it's gonna be a lot more positive. We're gonna be honest, but yeah, man. I feel good about the Raiders GM. You know, and it's. I don't remember the last time I could say that. You know, I don't remember the last time. Head coach? Yeah. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Yeah. I don't know what to expect. I'm hoping for the best. But we had, you know, my guy Adal, you know, Usman NFL, man. Make sure to check him out. He was like, hey, look, this dude is legit. The 49ers couldn't do anything with a Kubiak. And the rest of the NFC West and the league, like, and he's been getting a lot of high praise, but you know, mind you, some of the high praise that he's been getting from coaches that he actually coached under, which I didn't know. Kevin O'Connell, he was he hired him as I believe he hired him as a QB coach.
Oh, okay. I don't remember.
Or something to that effect. I think he hired him on, and Mike Sherman, he was on Mike Sherman's staff in college. So like a lot of people kind of been, you know, kind of giving some praise, some credit, you know, but this is a time where a lot of people come out and they're going to say a lot of good things. I'm
honeymoon phase right now.
Yeah, I'm hoping for the best. But I
remember Tom Brady came out, was praising Josh McDaniels. So was Bill Belichick and the entire world. Oh, Josh McDaniels. Rex Ryan was giving Josh McDaniels major props too. You know, Tom, like everybody was giving them props.
Oh man, got hired.
All the coaches were rather.
Yeah, and players too, I remember the running back. He played for Oregon, and I think he might have. Did he play for Oregon? LeGarrette Blount. He was talking, man. He was like, this dude. He's gonna maximize everybody on offense and this, that, and the third. But the problem is that like some of these guys, they seen him as an offensive coordinator when he was coaching there. They didn't see him as a head coach. Yeah. But when you hear the guys talk about him as a head coach, those are guys you want to listen to. And he didn't really get a lot of love from the players when he was a head coach, especially with Denver. And then Brandon Marshall, he couldn't wait. Once he seen this fall, he was like, hey, I knew it. This dude is, he's not a leader. And you know what I mean?
Brandon Marshall's not, he's not the best. He's mad because he made, but like Brandon Marshall was mad off personal stuff. Like he made Brandon Marshall compete for his job. Where Brandon Marshall was, I'm Brandon Marshall. I should just walk right into it. He's like, you know, he made him actually compete, which is a competitor is going to want to say like, oh, don't hand me nothing. Like I'm going to get out here. I'm going to get it out the mud and I'm going to earn it. Brandon Marshall didn't think that way. He felt disrespected that he had to actually compete. Like, bro, like what you did, like don't rest on, like, I'm not resting on what you did last year. Because if that was the case, then whatever wide receiver that was in front of you that was better than you, when you came into the league, they would have just been there and you would never got an opportunity because they already did off of what they did last year. Now, bro, if we coming in here, you're going to compete for your spot. And if you win the spot, then cool, you win the spot. But like everybody getting a fair shot at the opportunity. And, you know, Brandon Marshall took some offense to that. But it is what it is.
I'm going to play devil's advocate real quick because early returns on last year's draft, I'm not out on it, but I will say that Thornton, he's at risk. I'll say Besh is an incomplete. I don't know. I don't know. And I said this the other day. I tweeted out on social media. I said, if the Raiders draft 2 wide receivers in this year's draft, I think it says a lot about Besh and Thornton. Now, you could say the Raiders are trying to rebuild that room. You know, Tucker's on his last year. You know, Naylor is probably the only guy that's going to be like that's under contract past this year.
Well, that's not a draft pick, yeah, because obviously Best.
I'm just saying that if you just look at the wide receiver depth chart, like who's under contract past this year? Naylor.
Yeah. Well, yeah, not outside of Best and Thornton.
Yeah, outside of Best and Thornton. So you could say like, well, they still need to add, but if they add him early, I don't know, man. Like, because where does Best fit? Where does Best fit?
FedEx.
FedEx. Oh man, hey man, you're at this point. You're just draft a player, man. This draft is replacement.
I'm willing to, in light of everything that happened last year, I'm willing to give everybody a clean slate. But my issue is that with all the offensive players we drafted last year, all of the offensive players we drafted last year, I think we overdrafted every single one of them. I think, obviously, you know how I feel about drafting Ashton Genty at 6. I think that was overdraft.
Yeah.
If we drafted Genty in the second round, oh, cool, I'm good with that. I think Besh was an overdraft. We drafted him too early. I think we drafted Caleb Rogers too early. You know, one of my sleepers in last draft was Charles Grant. We drafted him in the 3rd. I think we drafted him too early. I was expecting him like late 4th, 5th. We drafted Dante Thornton too early. Like, I think everybody we drafted offensively, we reached on. It was a reach, and we drafted them too early. Now, we give them all a clean slate. A new offensive staff, a better run offense. You know, Rick Dennison, like I've already said, that was of all the coaches we hired, including Kubiak, Dennison was my favorite hire because of what he brings offensively, just offensive mind, and what I feel he can bring to the offensive line with a few young guys, with JPJ and Linderbaum and Grant and Rogers. And Glaze, really, too. I think it's a whole bunch of young guys that are still here that I think will benefit greatly from what Rick Dennison does as a teacher and from what he does in terms of his blocking scheme. So I think all those guys are going to benefit. So guys on offense, hey, look, I'm willing to wipe the slate clean. I'm still on your neck. Don't get that twisted. I'm still on your necks. But look, I'm willing to give everybody a do-over, give everybody a mulligan and see what they do this year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I man, it's gonna be tough, man, because like what happens if there's a scenario, let's say the Raiders trade down in the 2nd and they draft Bernard out of Alabama. The guy that the Raiders have, I think they brought him in for a top 30 visit. I don't know. They might have talked to him at the combine, possibly. Might be a guy that might be that Z, that movable piece, that they can, a guy that can move around on offense. And then, this is after a trade down from 36. I'm not saying take him at 36. They pick up an extra 3rd round pick. So they got 2 3rd-round picks. And with one of those 3rd-round picks, Ted Hurst is on the board. What happens if they draft Ted Hurst in the 3rd? So now you got Ted Hurst and you got Bernard. And we talked about this earlier, and you were like, man, what'd you say? You said, like, that's kind of a better version.
Yeah, that's like drafting a way better Jack Besh and a way better Dante Thornton. Like, if you do that, you basically drafted like guys with similar games, but just way better than what they are. So, I mean,
coming out.
So if we do that, and I've been talking about Ted Hurst for a minute. That's one of my sleeper guys. I think he's been making a lot of noise recently. A lot of people saying he could creep into the 2nd round. But if we're able to get him with that 1st pick in the 3rd, or do like your plan and where we can trade back in the 2nd and pick up an additional 3rd and like do something like that, okay, I'm all aboard with that. Like I said, I'm not super high on Bernard, but I think he's in the late 2nd, mid to late 2nd. I think that's a solid selection. I wouldn't hate that pick, but like I said, I'm not super high on him.
I just wouldn't be. it's just gonna be hard for me to believe that like he's the best player on the board at 36, the fourth pick in the second round. And there's other positions of need at the Raiders.
Exactly.
Like, so if there's a better player at another position, then go take him. Like whether it's, you can argue like at offensive line or
safety.
nose tackle, nose safety. Other positions. Yeah, I mean, but man, I feel like we, when I'm thinking about the draft, I don't know why I'm thinking about offense more than I'm thinking defense. Obviously, I'm thinking like nose tackle, but then I'm like, man, it'd be nice if we get like a blocking tight end, like in the fifth or sixth round. You know what I mean? We get like a guy with high measure, like, pretty good measurables as far as like, height, weight, speed guy, a tight end that can block. So there's like a little bit of like, all right, you could have him come in on obvious downs, but then still develop him as a pass catcher. I don't mind that as a number 2 guy.
Yeah.
Because Brock Bowers is gonna take up all of the offensive. So to develop that number, exactly. So it's like Mayer's kind of for all the Mayer people in the building, he's kind of a luxury on a high end. Like if he hits whatever ceiling that you feel like he's a luxury, no matter what, he's gonna be a luxury. But he's also not a good blocker. So it's like,
he's probably the best blocker we have at tight end, which is pitiful. That's what's just pitiful. It's like that's pitiful. Yeah. But like you said, like he's a luxury. Not only is he a luxury, but his production, as long as Brock Bowers is healthy, his production is capped because he's always going to play second fiddle to Brock Bowers. So you're never going to maximize what he is as a player, in the current role that he's in. So as a second round pick, you're probably better off getting a different tight end with a different skill set a little bit later on that fits more into that blocking role than Michael Mayer does. So I mean, I can see that. I mean, and I think part of the reason why we're looking so heavily on offense, especially after this draft, is because first of all, Fernando Mendoza, we understand that we're going to be drafting a quarterback number 1 overall, and we want to give him as many pieces as possible to set him up for success. So that's why we're thinking offense, especially in terms of weapons, because we have a dearth of weapons on the offensive side of the ball. Whatever you may think of Genty, okay, bam, we got Genty. Obviously Brock Bowers has proven that he's, the best receiving tight end in NFL. So that's 2. Outside of those guys, nothing but question marks all over the offense. And Colton Miller, obviously, at left tackle, and Linderbaum at center. Right? Everywhere else offensively is a question mark. Yeah. And then we also just made massive investments defensively with Kwity Paye and Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker. So we've made a lot of investments, and bringing back Stokes. So we made, and then obviously Teron Johnson. So we made several investments defensively. The only offensive, investments we really made were Naylor and Linderbaum. Obviously a massive investment in Linderbaum, but other than that, we didn't do a lot offensively. So now we kind of turn into the draft because a lot of our holes, it seems to be on the offensive side of the ball, especially for a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, they spent a lot of the money on defense.
Yeah. On
defense, which they still see, and the thing is, they're not going to be able to address all their need on off season. So
yeah.
But when I'm looking at the Raiders offense, I'm looking at and this is some people might not be thinking about this, but I'm thinking about man, who are they gonna pick up and add to that tight end room? Because usually good GMs, they'll start looking to replace or add to or replace positions before they have to. Which in this case, Michael Mayer, he's going to be a free agent after next season. But who's going to be the next guy up? So if they can, grab a guy in the 6th round, I wouldn't mind that. 5th round, I wouldn't mind that. Another position that we talked about a little bit, but running back.
Man,
we thought that they were going to address that, maybe grab a veteran, the Brian Robinsons of the world. I know your guy, you threw out, I think you were the first to bring in Rashad White. I thought that was going to be that's a good fit right there.
Yeah.
He ended up getting picked up. And I think a lot had to do, to me, in my opinion, I think that with Max Crosby, that extra money that they were probably gonna maybe get like a veteran running back. They kind of lost that a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But I'm also looking at that position, like in the 4th round.
Yeah.
One of those, we got 3 4th round picks. I'm looking at safety for sure. Safety. You know, if they don't address that in the earlier rounds, I'm looking at safety, but I'm also looking at running back too.
What do you think about Najee? Because it's seeming, I'm hearing a lot of noise. It's seeming like he is the guy, or he's going to be a guy that's on their radar, especially coming in for. I wouldn't be surprised. So do you think that's the guy that if they bring, let's say they bring on Najee, do you still think they draft a running back, or do you think, that's like a?
They should.
Yeah. Do you still think they draft a guy? Okay.
They should because Najee's coming back from Achilles.
Yeah.
Achilles injury. That's ugly.
Yeah. It happened early in the year though, right?
Yeah, but okay. I know in basketball that's disgusting injury.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Period.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
disgusting, period.
I'm just looking at. All right. If we're being fair, like Najee Harris' game is not built off explosiveness, but I'm sure there's still a level of burst to his game in order for him to be Najee Harris.
Exactly.
I think he's probably gonna lose that. There's gonna be a timetable for him to recover him. Sometimes, some guys don't recover. So if they offer him a contract, I think we spoke to my guy Adal. He over here commenting, man. Appreciate you coming through, Adal Usman NFL, man. If you guys haven't, man, make sure to head over and subscribe to my guy. He mentioned him. He mentioned as a guy that the Raiders are interested in. And I said, like, hey, look, at the end of the day, like, Najee Harris is not a guy that I would even like give a guaranteed contract. You know what I mean? Like, you can't really bet on him being like making the roster out of training camp, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I'm still drafting a guy in the 4th. I mean, is there a guy that you like in the 4th?
I'd say I mentioned before, the guy at Wake Forest, Damon Claiborne.
Okay.
He's a burner. He is a burner. So if we need like a guy that's going to be a speed guy, that's a guy right there. Trying to think, some other guys. I mean, Kalen Black maybe. Obviously played at Indiana with Mendoza. Don't know if he's gonna. We don't know where he's gonna go. What his value is looking like right now. Nick Singleton is another guy at Penn State, but there's another guy. He might go a little bit earlier than that. This running back class is not as like deep as the last one, so it kind of varies where guys will go. And so many went in the last draft class where teams, picked up guys. They may not be looking for guys until the proper spots, like the 4th, 5th round. So that's when we might start seeing a run on some of these running backs outside of Jeremiah Love and obviously Jadarian Price. So those guys might go, round 1, round 2. We might not see another guy go until deep into the 3rd or into the 4th round.
Yeah. Okay. All right, man. Yeah, you did bring up Claiborne last week too. You talked about him. I was saying move up from the 2nd to get.
Oh, Coleman too. I think Coleman is coming. A lot of people are starting to like him.
Coleman. I think we talked about him. Is he more of a
from Washington?
Okay. Yeah, I think we talked about it last week too. We got into the running back. I think someone called in last week. Man. Hey, call-in shows every Thursday, man. Don't miss it. Around the Shield, call-in shows. I think someone called in and talked about the running backs. Adele says move up for a 2nd first-round pick. Now, man, it's hard to predict that, but is there a world where it would make sense for the Raiders to trade up into the 1st to grab a player?
If they see
because the only trade that would make sense is like they package their 2nd round pick and maybe one of their 4ths.
Yeah, I mean, see, and that's what's so disgusting is that we won that. Like, if we're picking at 33, then that would be like smooth. Okay, bam, that's a little bit easier to move up.
Right.
But now having to from 36 makes it a little bit more difficult. But if a guy they really love is falling, let's say they're in love with Denzel Boston, and they don't think he's gonna last till 36, and they see the Bills on the board, and the Bills are desperate at wide receiver. Yeah. And they're like, look, we got to get in front of these dudes, and we really love this player. We think he's gonna be instant impact guy. We need a big target, a jump ball, contested catch guy. Like, man, we got to get up for him. If it's a situation like that and they feel that strongly about him, I'm cool with it. But I'd much rather prefer them let the board play out. And if anything, hey, do what they did like last year, right? Go ahead and move on back. Yeah. They might end up with a guy like maybe a Chris Bell falls to him, right? Maybe a Chris Bell fall. Maybe it's a what you call it? It's a Will Johnson situation. A guy like that falls to him, and they're able to pick up a guy like that in the second round. Or maybe they mess around and get. Maybe they still want to dress corner, and ironically, think about Will Johnson, another guy that was hurt last year, Jermon McCoy. Maybe that guy falls to him in the second round. They're like, man, this guy is so talented. He's such a good player. We can't pass up on him. Yeah. And they stick and pick. So like sometimes it's good to be aggressive, but sometimes you gotta let the board play out. It just depends on how they value these guys.
Yeah, it gotta be like Jordan Tyson.
Yeah, or that's another guy.
Like I would package a 4th and a 6th plus the second round.
That's another guy right there.
And to get into, but that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. But for me, it's just that's the type of player that needs to be on the board. Like a guy that like, whoa, he's there. Like, yeah. I thought this guy was gonna go to top 15, top 10. You know what I'm saying? Like he's there. Yeah. I think to me that's the guy that you want to trade up for. A guy that you didn't even expect to even be there. So I think Boston is a guy that I think everybody kind of has going like late 1st, 2nd. So I don't know if the Raiders are going to trade up for him. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not a guy that, unless they could really like, hey, like this is their best receiver on the board type deal. Like he's the, maybe, and that's a guy that they've targeted, they're high on or whatever. I get it. I mean, Michael Mayer was a guy that the Raiders targeted in the past.
Yeah,
they were going to trade up into the 1st to get him, and they got him. And I think they traded up in the.
They traded up in the 2nd.
Yeah, in the 2nd to end up drafting him. But just need to says Mayer is a physical chain mover on the inside. We should ignore one of the best tight ends in their draft class. This is actually a pretty good tight end class too.
Yeah.
So it's another reason why you should grab a tight end. You know what I mean? In the later rounds. I'm not saying early. I'm just saying like, hey, look, the 5th, 6th, 7th, that's like depth. Or guys that you can develop into like possibly, playing some meaningful snaps in the future. Yeah. And Michael Mayer, I don't know, man.
Look, if it's a situation you're able to get like a 6 or something from Michael Mayer, like if you don't feel you're going to use him, you're able to get like a 6 or something for him, do it.
Yeah. Tyson falling to the hell no. That's not gonna happen. We're gonna trade up ahead of the Niners. That's gonna be nice too, KP. If that happens, but that'd be crazy.
Bro, if Tyson go to the bro, why would the Niners of all teams after dealing with what they dealt with last year draft a guy that's injury prone, bro?
Well, it's funny. That's funny. But that the GM came out and like squashed all that. Like,
yeah, he said that he's got to talk to some scientists and said it's not an issue or something like.
Man.
Yeah, sure. Like, what else is gonna say? The substation ain't going nowhere, bro. That's it's not moving.
But it was serious enough for him to get a scientist for them to reach out and actually look into it.
Yeah.
Because players were talking about it. Like players are going to look into that. They're going to be, that's affecting them getting players to come and sign in San Francisco. But they were able to get Mike Evans, who's also injury prone.
Exactly, bro. Like I already said, bro, tendonism.
Yeah.
It's going to be tendonism on them ligaments, bro.
Oh,
but if it's some of the situations, like so that's what I said, people sometimes people would just be like, okay, yeah, sure, cool. They squashed that worry. We don't have to worry about that. Like, what else is you gonna say? Like, I talked to a scientist. The scientist is like, yeah, man, we're effed. we're screwed. Like, like the stuff's like substations causing all these injuries. is this is the reason? Like of course they're not gonna say that.
Yeah.
And of course, and he could have got, and that's another thing. He could have talked to 50 scientists, and 49 of them could have said, "Yeah, man, that substation is redoing y'all in." And the one scientist that was like, "Nah, bro, like y'all good." You're like, "I talked to a scientist yesterday. He said we're fine." It's like that's just how it goes.
Yeah. Oh man, there's some other guys I want to talk to you about, but now before we even get into that, man, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We appreciate everybody coming through. We're going live on both our channels. If it's your first time joining us, definitely subscribe to both channels, not just one, to both channels, and clock in, as we like to say it, man. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And we not done yet, man. It's that time, man.
Personal foul, 69, offense. He was giving them the business.
Man, it's flag on the play. This is where we have an issue with anything in that's going around, whether it's the NFL, whether it's the Raiders. In this case, this is the Cleveland Browns coach.
Cleveland Browns coach.
Why are we giving a flag? Why are we giving a flag this way? The Cleveland Browns coach, which is Todd Monken, former scumbag Ravens offensive coordinator.
He got away from the Ravens, so maybe he washed some of the scum off of them temporarily. We could have went a lot of different directions with this flag on the play. Just some more, a little bit harder hitting things. But I thought this was hilarious. Was that we talked about earlier? Obviously, it was the owners' meeting every year. They do the photo where they get all the coaches together and they take the picture. And this year, Todd Monken, he was not in the photo, and he was not able to be there. And you would think it was something serious. You would think, oh, maybe a family emergency or some kind of other issue. But no, the reason that Todd Monken missed the coach's photo was because he was getting a haircut so he could be in the photo. You can't make this stuff up, bro. You cannot make this stuff up.
Man, bro. Hey, Todd Monken, man, flag on the play, man. What is he doing? What is he thinking? Well, it's funny because we talked about how the coaches that come and go, and he literally didn't even have an opportunity to even show us. You can't even hang that picture anywhere, because you're not even in the picture.
Facts.
That's wild, man. Your head coach, do they even take him serious? I don't know. Does Cleveland really take Todd Monken because I felt like he was the backup option. He wasn't their first choice. It's kind of obvious.
Yeah, I don't think it was their first choice.
For sure not. They interviewed so many other people. They actually wanted Mike McDaniel. But Mike McDaniel, remember, he kind of declined the interview.
He declined the interview, yeah.
He declined the interview.
A few people declined the interview. But no, what's crazy is that everybody declined the interview because they were saying, if you come here, Jim Schwartz is going to be your defensive coordinator. And a few people are like, nah, I don't like that setup. I don't want it to be dictated to me who my DC is. And Todd Monken was one of the few people that was like, all right, cool, I'll run with that. And Jim Schwartz was like, yeah, I don't want the job no more because I didn't get considered.
Yeah, man. Because Monken was like, oh man, I'm getting a head coaching job.
Exactly.
He was part of a fired coaching staff. He's like, oh, hey, I'm gonna take this opportunity.
He was like, what did you say? I think you sent me something. Did you send it to? Oh, maybe nah. Somebody sent you something about Tutu Atwell finding out he's the #1 receiver on the Dolphins. He was like, what? I was like, well, damn. That's a Ted Monken getting that job with the Browns.
That's wild, man. Yeah, but I think it's not looking too good for Monken. I mean, it's not a good start, but hey, that's what we said about the coach for the Jaguars last year when he's all like Duval. He came in here what? Everybody was just looking at him this guy. Yeah. He became a meme instantly. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I just.
It was 30 years younger than Todd Monken.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Todd Monken, I don't know if it's gonna last. I think they're really wanting to get an offensive coach for Shador, and I guess they wanted to get someone that can coach him up in that area. But I don't know.
It might not even be Shador though.
It might not be Shador.
It might not be Shador.
Who do you think it might be? Oh, Deshaun?
It could be Deshaun, or it could draft a dude.
You think they draft a guy? Damn, if they draft a guy, that's
they could. I mean, they drafted Shador in the 5th, Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd. Come on, Dylan Gabriel. Come on.
This is a terrible draft class to get a quarterback. I mean, they could get a quarterback,
but thing is that I think Todd Monken is close with Ty Simpson's family, and the Cleveland Browns have 2 first-round picks as well. They have 6, I want to say. They have another one from the Jags. I forget which one it is, because when the Jags moved up to get Trav, so they got 2 first-round picks. So they can easily, if Ty Simpson falls, I can easily see them pulling the trigger like, bam, take him.
I feel it. I mean, you have to, you know, if you haven't identified a franchise QB, you keep trying to address that position. But I'm staying away from Ty Simpson. That 15 starts is enough for me. I'm like, hey, look at history right now. That's a tough to overcome a little bit. Like, when you don't have a lot of experience like that, you literally have 1 year of experience. Now he didn't look, he looked good in certain points, but like, he's also like what, 6'1", 6 foot or something like that. Like maybe
6'1", I think 6'1".
6'2" for maybe
6'2" is probably generous, but probably 6'1" ish.
And is he even 200 pounds? Like, he looks pretty small. So it's like,
I think he's played, I think like a 215-ish, but then he got whatever intestinal disease he had, and he lost like 20 pounds, they said. So he was in the 190s by the end of the year, but I think he started the season like 215, something like that.
Right, man. But yeah, man, we're not done yet, man. We got notable quotables. This is where we play a quote, and we have a conversation about the quote here that we decided to talk about this week. And Severe, if you let the people know. Actually, hold on one second.
Yep. Well, the first quote, I'll give y'all a brief introduction while Pharaoh gets everything together. Obviously, we're talking about Spytek. Ironically, and this was a smooth segue because Pharaoh just brought up franchise quarterbacks. And we talked about, shout out to my guy, Angelo. Let's say excited about the draft coming up. We got a lot of people in the boxing space repping our Raiders, Jay Opataya, Virgil Ortiz, Jalil Hackett, etc. Hoping to finally see us in the pound for pound list of the NFL. Hopefully, man, Jay Opataya, it made him give up his belt, man. That was trash, but you know, it is what it is. But like I was saying before, you know, this quote, Spike obviously was talking at the owner meetings. This was a little bit after, you know, he was kind of making the rounds on NFL Network and a few other networks as well. And it's ironic that Pharaoh brought up the franchise quarterback comment because they did ask him a question about, you know, about franchise quarterbacks in general. And we were talking earlier about how adept he is at dealing with the media, and he's really good at kind of giving you an answer but not giving you an answer, and you know, being very evasive, but also, you know, giving you a little bit, giving you enough to kind of satiate whatever hunger you may have for the answer he's going to give, but not enough for you to really lock him down and say, okay, bam, this is where the Raiders are at, or this is what he's thinking, or this is their mindset on stuff. And especially, you know, with us being at number 1, it'd be easy to go with the consensus and kind of just say, hey, you know, we're drafting Fernando Mendoza, like, you know, and there's nothing anybody can really do about it. But whether it's for this year or for future years, I think he's really being intelligent in how he's playing it. And it could just be a situation where he's just being coy, if for nothing else, than to stay in that mindset at all times. Like, even though I know, Pharaoh knows, all the Raider Nation knows, the entire NFL community knows we're taking Fernando Mendoza number 1, just to keep that same mindset, keep that same mentality, and keep those same processes in place where you never divulge too much information. I can't see that as a bad thing.
So what's the first notable quote going with?
Spytek.
Spytek. All right, here we go.
But in your dealings with Fernando Mendoza and conversations with him, what about him makes you think that he could be a franchise quarterback?
Well, we've got a long way to go there, Laura, but I just love the way he competes, and there's a lot of guys on that Indiana team, and they didn't go 16-0 because just Fernando was there. They've got a lot of great players. They're a great team atmosphere in that group. You can feel it when you're around the team. I got a chance to go watch them play a couple times this year, and it's just fun to watch that and witness that and be a part of things like that.
Hold on, did he just sidestep the question?
Well, he didn't. He answered the question. He sidestepped it, but I like how he sidestepped it because she asked him a very specific question, a question that would, if he answered the question, it would divulge what the Raiders are thinking. And she was like, "Oh, so," and look, it was a good question. I can't lie at all. The way she asked the question was a very good question because she was trying to pin him down. But I like the recognition from Spytek where she was like, "Oh, what do you think makes him a franchise quarterback?" And he was like, "Oh, we're not going that far. He ain't about to get me. He ain't about to get me with that. He ain't about to get me with the okie doke." And he sidestepped it. It was like, and then not only did he sidestep it there, but he also said, "Oh, they didn't go 16-0 because of Mendoza. It's because these other guys too." Where it's like, okay, now he's really like distancing himself from that question and putting attention elsewhere. But even though everybody knows who the number 1 overall pick is going to be, but I just like that he's like, just staying in that mode. Stay in that mode at all times. Never let them know what you're thinking. Even though the entire world's expectation is you're going to do this, never let them know for sure that's what you're thinking.
And that's what he's done a good job of just in general as a GM, like just playing coy. It's like, oh yeah, because you remember, I keep bringing it up, and I know you're looking at it too much when the Jaguars GM was like, I didn't know that the Raiders were going to trade Myers until the day of the trade deadline.
Yeah.
So but it's not just that situation. Things just keep adding up where it's like, man, he just has a good poker face. Like he's like all in. He's paying attention to how the media's asking questions. He's making sure he's answering correctly, where he doesn't kind of put himself in a corner. So, like I said, man, Spytek is the guy, man. If you want to point to something that's want to give you hope as a fan, it's John Spytek as a GM right now for me. But we're not done yet, man. We got another notable, quotable. What we got next, man?
Yes, sir. I think you brought this up to me. We're talking about wide receivers, and you know what we're saying. The Raiders don't have a number 1 wide receiver right now. And, since we don't have number 14 anymore, we might not even have an opportunity to get a number 1 wide receiver. And Kubiak was asked a little bit about this, and the answer was very interesting and could give you some insight into maybe how they construct the roster and maybe even how they approach the draft.
I think in a perfect world that he's watching a mature adult. I think in a perfect world that he's running offense, watching a mature adult. But you just and the situation is you might have that player, you might not. You might not have that veteran to show him the way. So he might come in and have to play immediately. But you'd rather him learn before he gets in the game. You don't always get to pick. It just doesn't work out the exact way you want it to. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that.
Oh, was that the?
That was the other one. It should be the second one, the 15-second one.
I think everyone would love the traditional, Megatron X in their offense. You don't see those guys as much. I think you're just trying to, get your 5 best eligibles, however you can get them, and then go get them open on game day.
Yeah, man. I don't know. When I heard that, it kind of told me like, all right, you know what? They're not necessarily going to be looking like, obviously in a perfect world, they would love to have a number 1 receiver, but they're also being honest on where they're going to be picking at. It's going to be in the second round. The likelihood of getting a true number 1 receiver is not going to be as high if you were picking in the first round. So they're being realistic because they got to rebuild that wide receiver room.
Yeah.
If you look at we were talking about this earlier, outside of Naylor, and I know they drafted Thornton, and like you can argue like Thornton, man, Thornton, he's not connected to this coaching staff.
There's no guarantee. No guarantee he's on the roster. No guarantees at all.
Exactly. Now, Besh, it's going to be hard for me to believe that they're going to cut him after 1 year. I can see Thornton, but Besh,
yeah,
I think they're gonna keep him. I mean, he's still on a rookie deal. Same thing with Thornton. I'm not saying that Thornton is guaranteed to get cut either. It's just that, like, it just seems like they're gonna rebuild this whole wide receiver room, and I think they're gonna grab maybe they might grab 2 receivers. There's a high likelihood they can grab 2 receivers, and I like the scenario of them like trading down and maybe grabbing a receiver, or if Boston's there at 36, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Worst case scenario, can he develop into a number 1? It's possible. If not, then he could be that number 2 guy, and then you can draft another guy next year. But I think we'll see how the Raiders kind of attack the draft, because last year, what did they do when they get to the second? I think they were connected to a couple of guys, but they traded down. So we also got
Jaden Higgins was the first guy, was a receiver out of Iowa State. And look, ironically, Jaden Higgins, he got a little more explosiveness than more explosiveness than Denzel Boston, but similar body types, where it's big body receiver, the box guys out, jump ball situations, 50-50 balls, like that was Jaden Higgins did that. Obviously, Jaden Higgins added a little bit more in terms of athleticism, but look at a guy like Denzel, and that was the guy the Raiders. I don't know if the Raiders targeted him or Pete Carroll targeted him. So that's the question you kind of got to ask there. It's like, was that a Pete Carroll thing, or was that a Raiders thing? Because if Spytek is thinking along those same lines, well then okay, bam, maybe they go for a Denzel Boston. But if you're looking at what Kubiak did with the Seahawks, most of those guys weren't like their big receiver left, right? Or they traded them, and they made it work with a guy like JSN, and who, like, Bernard is not JSN, but you can see, like, he's a guy you can move around. He's a technician, clean route runner, good hands, going to help in the blocking game. Like, you can see, okay, bang, he's not a JSN level talent, but he's that style of player. I can work with a guy like this, and I can,
JSN went in the first round, huh?
JSN went in the first round, yeah.
All right, okay. Like, would you take, if he's there, but I think a lot of people got him right now. He's getting a lot of hype. People think he's going to go in the first, but Omar Cooper Jr., would you consider him if he's there at 36?
Me personally, no. I know a lot of, I know a lot of people love him.
You can move around too.
You can move around too, but still, I don't want Bernard at 36 either. Omar Cooper, I think, higher than Bernard.
Bernard's a bigger version to me of Cooper, because he kind of does a lot of the same things.
I think Omar Cooper's more explosive.
Probably a little faster, but I'm just saying route runner. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. I think Cooper's like what, 5'11", 5'10", and then like Bernard is like what, 6'1". You know what I mean? Like at least
something like that. Yeah, I thought Cooper was 6. I thought he was 6 flat. Maybe, but that could be college measurements. You know how they do. They add an inch or so to a guy. But I don't want either one of those guys at 36. But I know the NFL is really high on Cooper. Like, I know a lot of people in the scouting community are super high on Cooper. I'm not as high as them. I like him as a receiver, but I don't love him. But there are people in the scouting community that love him.
You're
right. What, 6 flat?
6 flat.
Yeah. People like say I'd be okay with either one of those guys. Either one of those guys, you put them on our roster, day one, they're the best wide receiver on our team. And arguably the second best offensive skill player on our team. Arguably.
I thought Bernard was way bigger.
What is he, like 6'1"?
He's 6'1". They're about the same size.
Yeah. They're about the same size. I don't think. I was like, Bernard's not that big.
But they're like similar measurables though.
Measurables in terms of what? Like speed?
Well, speed, he got him on speed. Like Mark Cooper ran a 4.42. Bernard ran a 4.48.
That's close enough.
10-yard split was Bernard got him on there, but it's close. 1.52, and then Cooper ran a 1.55.
Oh, that's close.
And then
it's like fractions of a second.
Cooper jumped 37 inches, and then Bernard jumped for 32.5.
Yeah, that's kind of nasty right there. That's kind of nasty right there.
Yeah.
That's kind of nasty right there. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'll be okay with either one of those guys. I'd rather neither one of them at 36. Rather, if I'm going to do either one of them, or if the Raiders going to draft either one of them at 36, I would say I would probably go Cooper there because I think he offers a little more explosiveness. But thing is, like Bernard was the number one receiver on his team. Cooper was like third. He was probably behind, maybe second, but he was behind Surratt. Well, this year he kind of came onto the scene bigger, but. People, because you could argue Surratt and Becker were bigger or more important to the offense than Cooper.
Oh man, I don't know. I think Beck, yeah, especially later in the year, Beck went crazy. I felt like.
Yeah, for sure.
But Cooper just seems like the more explosive guy, and I think Cooper, came on the scene especially when Surratt got hurt.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why he came onto the scene. I think because of Surratt was hurt.
But I do like Cooper just because of like the connection between him and Mendoza. So, like he's on the board. It's like it kind of make you think about it a little bit. Like he kind of. Oh damn, they're like similar sizes. I thought like Cooper had him on the size. All right, well.
Or Bernard had him on the size.
199. I mean Bernard is kind of big. He's bigger.
Yeah, he plays more physical as well.
Yeah, he is bigger. Yeah, but I will say that I think Cooper's probably going to be gone earlier, though. I think Cooper's going to be gone earlier. As of right now, like I feel like people are like kind of hyping him up, but you never know. Some of these mock drafts might be hyping him up a little bit. But right now, a lot of people are saying that Cooper might go in the first. So Bernard would be a guy that like maybe you can trade down and get, but that's if they're looking at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? They might be just go a different position. They might trade down and get like if Caden McDonald's there at 36, are you trading down?
Do it. No, I'm taking him.
That's what I'm saying, man. The tough call.
It could be hard. It might be hard for them to pass up Lee Hunter, to be honest with you. Like they might pull the trigger on him. I mean, I'm trying to think some offensive linemen. If Maxi and Achor, maybe they pull the trigger on a guy like that. But I mean, no, we didn't grab this quote, but Kubiak, he has some nice things to say about the young offensive linemen. Yes, he has some nice things to say about Glaze and about Colton and about or was it Spytek? Maybe it's Spytek, but about Grant as well. So he has some nice things to say about him. So there could be a smoke screen, maybe not, but I don't know what we kind of. I mean, that second round pick's gonna be interesting. It's really going to depend on how the board falls.
Yeah. Hummer says, in my opinion, mistake trying for wide receiver 1 this year. Use all the wide receiver guys we have this year while we fix everything. The thing is, though, who's our wide receiver 2? I mean, maybe
we don't have a wide receiver 2 on this team. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Not a proven one.
That's what I'm saying. And Naylor is the guy that I think they're based off his contract and like him. They're maybe projecting him to be like a number 2, 3 type of guy. You know what I mean? But outside of that, everybody's a question mark. So, and like I was trying to say earlier, like outside of Besh and Thornton, who, like I said, this coaching staff is not attached to at all. I'm not saying that they're going to get cut, but to me, Thornton especially needs to have a really good offseason. They both need to have a good offseason, especially if they're going to be because I think they're going to be looking at it like, all right, Tucker, he's on his last year. You got Naylor under contract. All right, you got Besh and Thornton, but what are they? Right now, we don't know. It's a huge question mark, and this coaching staff's not attached to them, so they're gonna want to get like, hey, we need to get someone legit in there that we feel like can actually be a starter that fits this offense, and they can make a case and say like, hey, you know what, Besh ain't it, Thornton ain't it, so it's not even about getting a wide receiver 1. It's more about getting starting caliber receiver.
Yeah,
we might end up like, let's say if they draft a number 2 in the 3rd round or 2nd round this year,
Yeah.
They might end up drafting their number 1 next year. In the draft.
Possibly.
Because right now, I think what's important here to not forget about is like they're trying to build around Mendoza. So they're trying to make the game easier for him while he's developing and learning the position. So if you can get guys that can get open, that helps out Mendoza. If no one's getting open, that means that Genty better be on point. Genty better be on point. The offensive line better be on point. The play calling got to be on point. It's just less room for error. For Mendoza, because Mendoza, come on, man, he's a rookie QB. He's gonna come into the league. He's not gonna know what's gonna hit. Like they're gonna throw types of defense he's never seen before. He's gonna throw interceptions, and it's not the end of the world. It's just part of the development process. I feel like the guys that hit the ground running, I feel like that was more of a testament. Not to say that they weren't talented guys and they weren't poised, but it also said a lot about the coaching staff too. How they would because they found a way for that QB that doesn't know what he's doing right now to be successful.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that a young quarterback, a rookie quarterback, is gonna know what the NFL is doing on defense compared to what Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady in year 15, 16, like.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you do to those guys, but like for a young rookie QB, like DCs are like, hey, this is a perfect scenario for me to do whatever I want to do on defense.
Yeah, disguise and stuff and all that stuff. Yeah, I feel that.
Exactly.
I feel that.
Exactly.
Which kind of brings us to our last quote from Kubiak, because we talked about, teams confusing a rookie quarterback, but what if we're not starting a rookie quarterback at all? And Kubiak was asked about that, and he had an interesting answer.
I think in a perfect world that he's watching a mature adult, go and run an offense and run the team. But the situation is you might have that player, you might not. You might not have that veteran to show him the way. So he might come in and have to play immediately. But you'd rather him learn before he gets in the game. You don't always get to pick. It just doesn't work out the exact way you want it to. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're bringing in an individual, drafting a guy that is mature enough to handle some adversity, whether it's him starting the first game or him starting the first game year 2.
Yeah, I think they really want to get a veteran in here, but they're also facing the reality where that's not might happen. It might not happen because I think they like. I really wanted Joe Flacco, but I was super surprised that he took that job with the Bengals.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would you take that job with the Bengals? Like, you're literally backing up Joe Burrow. Yeah, I know he gets hurt a lot, but still, if he doesn't get hurt, you're not getting in at all. And the Raiders, I'm sure, are like, hey, look, we're giving you a chance to compete for that starting role, be a mentor to Mendoza, kind of be that bridge. And if you're balling out, you're playing well, and Mendoza's still kind of figure things out, then you're going to be the starter. At this stage of your career, it just makes sense. He's 40-something years old. It makes sense for him to. It's not like I don't know. It just felt like I don't know. I think the Raiders. I think Raiders were interested, but I just think that he took that Bengals job. And I don't know if you heard the comments that he made when he took that Bengals job. He said something to the effect like, "Oh, man, I can't believe he was surprised that teams are not like basically giving him a shot at being a starter."
No, bro, you took a job where you have absolutely no shot at being a starter at all. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. That don't make no sense to me.
Yeah. So going back to the clip, I just think that they're trying to figure out that situation, and I don't know if maybe they're talking to Cousins behind the scenes. Cousins, I don't think has he been officially let go by the Falcons?
Oh, that I don't know. I don't know. I thought he did. Or no, maybe it won't happen. I thought he did. Might be June 1st. Maybe June 1st situation. But I think maybe they informed him they were going to do it, but it hasn't officially happened yet.
Yeah. So I think maybe a Kirk Cousins could be an option, but even Kirk Cousins got to come to that reality. Like, hey, bro, like you're not the guy that people are looking for to be a starter at this point.
Cousins got to be gone because Tua's there, so Cousins got to be gone.
Yeah. No. I'm not. He's gone, but I don't know if
it's officially like it's been official yet.
Is he released or they're using him as like a June 1st cut? Like, and if that's the case, then is he available to sign?
Yeah, they can still cut him now, I think, and designate it post June 1st, though. I think so. Okay. He should be gone. He should be gone because they brought Tua in, so he got to be gone.
Already. So he's another guy where like we kind of seen before I didn't even think that Flacco was going to come at it the way he did, but we thought the way Flacco is viewing himself as a QB at this stage of his career is the way Kirk Cousins is viewing himself as well too. Like he wants to be a starter.
Yeah,
like man, just accept. Like if he came in, if he accepted that role as a bridge QB, I'm cool with Kirk Cousins as a backup QB.
I think he has to know he's closer to the end than the beginning, right? I think he if we draft Fernando Mendoza, I think first of all, if he's signing here knowing that we're going to draft Fernando Mendoza, and that this is probably maybe the last spot in the NFL where he has a legitimate shot at being a starting quarterback, because the Raiders have constantly given the impression or downright said that they want a veteran guy to start, and they don't want to throw a rookie quarterback out there to the wolves early on. So he knows he's going to have an opportunity to start. He also has familiarity with Clint Kubiak and his system, so he's going to have an advantage there. So even if it is a competition, he already has, experience in the system, whether that be under Kubiak or with Kevin O'Connell. So he's been in two systems that are very similar to what we're going to be running. So I think, this gives him the opportunity to say, I'm going to go to the Raiders, have a 1-year audition. If I play well enough, I'm going to be able to get a shot potentially somewhere else and finish out my career as a starting quarterback with another team. After, giving way to Mendoza for year 2.
Homer says, not proven wide receiver 2. That's why I say try who we have. Between the 4 guys, we should have 1 wide receiver 2. That's what I think.
We may not. Like, just because we should have between the 4 guys, we should have a wide receiver 2.
And let's be real.
But they could all be bums.
And you gotta be real. We don't got a defensive coach. We got an offensive coach. He wants to add pieces to that offense. And in free agency, were they aggressive in upgrading the offense? Yeah, in some ways in Linderbaum, but that's about it. And Naylor, yeah, okay. But a lot of the money went to defense. They got a lot more starters on defense than they did on offense. So I'm going to bet that Kubiak is probably going to want some help on that offensive side of the ball, because he's an offensive coach. You want him to be at his best. He's going to want to make sure that he has as much pieces as he can. Are they going to be able to fix everything in 1 year? No, to your point. But come on, man, we got to be real, man. We got to get at least one receiver. At least one. I can see 2. I can see 2, to be honest with you.
Because look, last year we had Mostert, Lobby, White, McCormick. What's the other kid we had? We had like 6 running backs on the roster outside of Genty. And you would think out of one of those guys, we had a legit RB2. But guess what? We didn't. We really didn't. Maybe Mostert, he did some okay things at points, but we really didn't have a legit RB2. Yeah. As evidenced by really no running back getting any considerable carries outside of Genty, who was top 10 in the league in carries. Ideally, you don't want your rookie running back taking those kind of hits early on in his career. But we had nobody else to get the ball to, really. That would be any kind of effective behind, this offensive line. So, we had no RB2. So, and that's just because you have a whole bunch of players out of position doesn't mean any of them are any good. So, we could be in that same situation. Will these guys get an opportunity to prove themselves in the OTA process and in training camp and potentially preseason? Yeah, sure, but they could just solidify the fact that they're not worthy of being wide receiver 2s.
Facts. Facts, man. If you haven't already, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. We're not done yet. What's real, what's not? This is where we say statement. We react to it as well as you guys, if it's real or it's not real. So this what's real, what's not statement is, if the Raiders start winning consistently, they can become the most valuable franchise in the NFL. So I think they're valued at $11 billion right now.
Yes, they're valued at $11 billion.
And that's as a losing franchise. Losing franchise that's in Vegas, profitable team in Vegas, by the way. But man, do they become the most valuable team in sports, or is it the NFL?
NFL. Well, if you're the most valuable team in NFL, you're probably the most valuable team in sport in North American sports. Right. Because I'm sure some of those. Nah, I think you'd probably be the most valuable team in sports.
NBA franchise. Let me see. How much is the Lakers valued at? Lakers
not even the most valuable team in the NBA. They're third.
Well, how much the Lakers valued at? I know they sold. They sold.
Did they sell for 10? I think they might have sold for 10.
Damn, the Lakers sold for 10.
I think they sold for 10. I want to say they sold for 10.
That's a marquee franchise. All right, and I guess the Warriors, they've added value to their franchise. I mean, they kind of are like the Lakers of this generation, winning a few championships.
Yeah. Lakers sold for 10.
Dang, and the Raiders are worth $11 billion.
Yeah,
and they're not even like a team that's winning football games at all. Like they're not even a player. Like, wow. So that's actually a good what's real, what's not statement. I'm gonna say it's real. If they can win consistently, and they're worth $11 billion right now, and I'm sure that's probably one of the most valuable teams in the NFL.
Yeah,
like they're the top half of the league for sure. 11, come on.
Like they're top 5 with top five for sure.
So if you're telling me they start winning, you know how much there's gonna be bandwagon fans, merchandise, everything that comes with winning is just gonna add even more to what they already have. So I'm gonna say it's real. I think they could become the most valuable team in the NFL just because of what they're valued right now. And we've been like the most dysfunctional team in football, coach after coach, GM after GM. We haven't gone to the playoffs consistently in I don't know how long. To me, I feel like that's real.
I'm going to say...
You said consistently. I'm not talking about one time. Consistently.
Exactly, consistently.
Bro, that's a whole different ball game. That's when you become... I feel you, Alfredo. He says
I'm gonna say, these Cowboys are the most valuable right now. Cowboys are the most valuable. I think the Cowboys are more valuable right now. I think the Rams are still. I think the Patriots may be. There's a few teams. The Raiders are like 5th or 6th, I want to say, according to Forbes. But when Forbes did the valuation last time, they were like $8 billion. And they were like 5th or 6th. So if you take this valuation right now, I think the only teams that would be ahead of them were the Cowboys. Their last valuation was like 13. And was it the Giants? Giants should have paid. I forgot who number 2 was. But I'm gonna say not real because I think no matter what the Raiders do, the Cowboys are gonna be. They're always going to be the most valuable team. It's going to be. They'd have to go and the Cowboys would have to do what the Raiders have done and just be like terrible, like just not like bad. Like Cowboys have been like bad or not good.
Yeah.
But they'd have to be like terrible for a considerable amount of time for us to be able to catch the Cowboys. Just because they move the needle. The Cowboys move the needle, and that's something that right now the Raiders aren't in the same stratosphere in terms of moving the needle of the NFL yet.
I hear you. It's just, it is projection, but come on, man. They're at 11 billion. The Raiders have been trash. I'm talking about laughing stock of the NFL. Even the Detroit Lions, they're good now. Detroit Lions used to be like, oh, okay. Now we still got the Browns, like the Browns. Even the Browns went to the playoffs a couple years in a row.
Yeah.
Or, you know, they had a little bit.
Yeah, they were in the book playoffs like 3 years ago. But that would say the year we hired McDaniels, they went to the playoffs because Van Pelt. I think that's when Flacco might have took him.
Right. So all I'm saying is that like they're valued at $11 billion right now, based off everything they've done. You know, and we all know the Raiders have one of the best fan bases, all that. But if they start consistently winning, man, I think it could go to a whole different level. I think it could go to a whole different level. But it's projection. I'm projecting a little. It's projection, obviously. But I'm 11 billion and they've been trash. Imagine if they start winning. You're saying winning consistently. So what does that even look like? Are they going making deep playoff runs? I'm thinking they're going to win a championship in there. They're going to win a championship.
If they win a championship, that changes the calculus. I want to say they change the calculus.
Because if you win it consistently, that means you kind of gotta.
But it's like the Pittsburgh, but like the Steelers win consistently. But like they ain't won the championship for a minute. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but what are the Steelers? Where are Steelers value that?
I don't know. They were up there. Let me see.
That's an interesting one right there, because they kind of been a team that's been, because that's what you're saying. You're saying, oh, the Raiders just go to the playoffs and be one and done. Is that what you're saying?
Basically, yeah.
Ah, okay. Now you.
Well, no, like if they win consistently, like they don't gotta be they don't have to be like deep playoff run, but they just winning consistently. They're a team that wins on a consistent basis. They're a less scumbag version of the Ravens, I guess, or like the Bills.
So how much are they worth?
I'm trying to see the Steelers.
Damn, the Raiders. It'd be crazy. The Raiders are valued more than the Steelers. That'd be wild. I don't think so.
All these are kind of old. Let me see.
I don't think the Raiders are valued more than the Steelers, though. That'd be crazy.
I'm look up Forbes. Let's see, look up Forbes.
Forbes
just did it.
The Raiders win a championship, their value could double. Yeah. I don't know if it would double, but it would be number one. If they win a Super Bowl, like they're gonna. Yeah.
So look, if we go off, see, and this is what's tough. Cause look, this is what's tough. Nah, man, we ain't catching that. We not catching the Cowboys. So this is what's tough is that if you go by last year's valuation, the Cowboys were at 13 billion last year, and then the next highest was the Rams at 2 was 10.5. Then the Giants were at 10.1. Then the Patriots were at 9. Then so that was Then
the Patriots is kind of sad because they won like how many Super Bowls and no one.
So we were at 9. So we were already ahead of Steelers. We were at 9th last year, and the Steelers are. Damn, where are the Steelers at? Damn, well, hold on, did I pass them? The Steelers are. Damn, they way down here. Where are the Steelers at?
They have a good fan base, but
Steelers are at 17 last year. This is based on last year. But if you look at the Raiders' revenue, the Raiders are their revenue last year. The Raiders, even though the Raiders were 9th in terms of value, their revenue was $832 million. So that's more than everybody. That's more than everybody in the NFL outside of the Cowboys. You know what the Cowboys' revenue was last year?
$1 billion.
1.2 billion.
Yeah.
So the Raiders were at 832, and they were higher. They were at 100 million clear, basically damn near everybody, about 100 million over. And then you would need another 400 million just to get to the Cowboys in terms of revenue. The Cowboys are just it's hard. It's gonna be hard to beat those dudes, man.
Yeah, it's just that part of the country, like Texas and football, like that. Texas. It's just football is just king out there. So it does make you think about it a little bit more. But like, man, Raiders win consistently. What? Come on, man. I just think that like if they start winning consistently, and then you put in a championship game in there, like a couple of championship game appearances in there, And
they need to win. They'd have to win the Super Bowl.
If they win just one Super Bowl, it's
they have to win the Super Bowl.
They
have to win. They need a franchise quarterback and to win a Super Bowl. If Fernando Mendoza turns into a superstar, and if Fernando Mendoza turns into a superstar, that automatically increases the value of your franchise off top. Just you have a franchise Super Bowl star quarterback. That's going to add like another $1 billion at least to your franchise. At least.
So that list was from last year or this year?
From last year.
From last year. And where were the Raiders ranked?
They were ninth last year. They were ninth last year.
Okay.
And they were ninth.
They said the Patriots were higher than them?
The Patriots were number 4 at $9 billion last year.
And the Raiders were like what, 3?
The Raiders were ninth last year they were $7.7 billion last year, according to Forbes. I've seen some valuations higher, but according to Forbes last year, they were $7.7 billion.
I feel like that's impressive, man. That's super impressive.
Oh, it's extremely impressive.
Because the reason why is because like Patriots, they've won like 6. They've been to how many Super Bowls within the last 10 years? That last decade or last 20 years, they've been in like half the Super Bowls.
Yep.
And they're still valued at that. Like you would think they would be near like top 2, top 3. But they're not even.
And the Raiders made more money they generated more revenue than every franchise in the NFL, not named the Cowboys.
No, that's real. Because
there's not another team that was in the $800 million. Raiders were $832 million. Not another team touched $800 million except the Cowboys, who were at $1.2 billion, which is.
No, I believe. I remember going into sports memorabilia store, and it was a Niner fan that owned it, and he was like, "Man, the one thing I give y'all Raider fans, man, y'all support the team no matter what." He said, "49er fans, if they losing, ain't no one spending a dime. They're not buying nothing." You know what I mean? Like it's Raider fans are a whole different level. So imagine if they start winning, that's just gonna create a whole. There's gonna be, it's gonna be the fans that have been supporting, but it's gonna be new fans.
Yeah.
So that's gonna up the revenue, and then you got to think about like just winning, just attaching winning to the franchise is gonna increase the value. And like if they win a Super Bowl, like that's even more. You know what I mean? Like advertise it. Like it's I don't know. I feel like it's just gonna add value to them. But the Cowboys is the only one I'm thinking about. Like man, that's gonna be
that's what I'm saying. The
Because
Cowboys.
if they win just a little bit, it just goes to because they've won some. Have they gone to the playoffs last 3 years?
Cowboys, they went like 2 years ago. I want to say.
Okay, and they've had Dak Prescott during this time. They've had
they've had some stars, but if they mess around and get like a look. If the Cowboys mess around and get a star white quarterback, bro, so it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. And on top of that, if I ain't gonna lie, once Jerry Jones,
yeah, but Jerry Jones is an issue with the franchise. But if they get if they were drafting, if they let them mess around and get Arch, let them get Arch. In that part of the country, let them get Arch Manning, and Arch goes to Texas too. But it's just hypothetical. But I'm saying if they get a quarterback like Arch, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my god, bro, it's a wrap.
It's going to a wrap. It's going to a whole different level. I'm just saying, like, I feel like Jerry Jones gets in the Cowboys' way sometimes because it feel like their son, he ain't a Mark Davis. Like he knows. Yeah, like he's kind of like been. He's been groomed. He's been groomed to be part of it. Yep.
Al Davis didn't groom Mark Davis to do it.
Yeah.
But if you look what Mark Davis outmaneuvered every owner in the NFL thus far. Yeah. When he took over the team, they were valued as a franchise as $700 million.
Mm-hmm.
They just earned more than that in revenue last year. So that tells you they went from $700 million to $11 billion in 14 years, bro.
Yeah, he living good. That's crazy. TK says, I'm just gonna have to.
No, well, I know Jerry's still in on Max. Watch draft day when he calls to give up. Look, bro. If Jerry, I wouldn't be mad at that at all, bro. Let Jerry have the phone all day. Jerry might mess around, try trade for Ashton Jeanty too. You want to give him your first next year for Ashton? He's from Texas, Jerry. Come on, make it happen, bro.
If they trade Ashton, that'd be wild. That'd be wild.
They're not gonna do that though. They're not gonna do that. Yeah. But if they give him a first, for him, I won't be surprised.
They would have to give me. They would have to like for Max and Ashton. I would have to get like, give me 3.
Oh, for sure 3.
Give me 3.
For sure 3.
I'll do it instantly.
For sure 3.
I'll do it instantly.
Because Max is worth 2, Ashton worth 1 at least. You know.
And then I want to see your face when the Raiders draft Jeremiah Love at 12.
Oh, bro, I'll be hot. But you know what? If we have 6, well, at that point now we'd only have 12, right? Nah, I can't do it. I can't do it. But say if we had multiple first round picks and we did that, I wouldn't like it. But I'd be like, all right, I see the plan. But if that's our only first round pick, hell no. I don't even want to run it back in the second round.
It would have to be some crazy situation where Kubiak is like super high in a running back that the Raiders can get in the second.
We got too many holes. I can't do it.
No. The only reason because Kubiak is he wants to run the football.
He does.
The Raiders want to run the football. Kubiak wants to run the football. Spytek wants they want to upgrade the offensive line and also improve the run game. You draft Ashton Jeanty. I mean, you trade away Ashton Jeanty. Who's gonna start?
Yeah, who's gonna run the ball?
We're over here. We were just talking about Najee Harris or adding a running back at some point in the draft, like in the 4th round, just because there's nobody after Ashton Jeanty. So if you trade away Ashton Jeanty at this point in the offseason, it's like in the draft, like you're gonna have to have a plan. Like
they'd have to draft Jadarian in the second. I can't go first round. I can't. Not with this many holes. They drafted Jadarian in the second or Jonah Coleman in the second. Jonah Coleman, Jonah Coleman is climbing up people's boards. A lot of people really like Jonah Coleman.
Love going in the 3rd round. I mean, no, Love going in the. I think he might go to Tennessee.
He probably good. That's a lot of people have him going.
Yeah, so I don't even think he's gonna be there at 12. But it would be funny though. If he's on.
That'd be wild. I'd be hot, bro. I'd be hot. Oh, I'd be hot, bro. I'd be so mad. Especially if we don't got no wide receiver. I'll be hot.
Yeah. AB said, how do you feel about the succession plan that got passed? We talked about it a little bit earlier. I mean, you know, we always had that question about like what would happen if something happened to Mark Davis, like who would be in charge of taking, like what would happen with the Raiders? And I guess this is the answer. And the answer is like Durbin would have the first dibs on basically buying the team. And in my eyes, I think he's going to buy the team. He's going to be the guy. He would be the next owner because he has enough money. And I think he's doing all these moves where they passed through. I think they've approved a 3.5% sale of the team. And then later on this year, they're going to have another sale of another 3.5%. So in total, 7% of the team is going to be sold to Durbin. And I guess, you know, if a situation happens where, you know, Mark wants to sell the team or he passes away, you know what I mean? That type of situation. Because he doesn't have any children. He's not married. You know what I mean? As of right now, that's as Mark kind of put it. I think that's going to be the plan. So it's going to be interesting because it's going to be weird because for, you know, I've been a fan of the Raiders since the beginning, and like, all I know is the Davis family own it. So it'll be so weird for
crazy.
Bro. But you know what's going to happen though? You know what's going to happen?
It's like me with the Lakers, bro. Like
the Bus family, yeah, I know that's so weird, bro. That's hella weird.
It's crazy.
That's weird.
But thing about it is that like how people in the NBA world looked at it was like, look, the Lakers have been doing everything they've been doing for this long, and they're basically been like a mom and pop shop. So it's like a mom and pop shop competing against Amazon, and But now they have like a deep pocket owner. Now they can really get in there. It's almost like the Warriors. The Warriors were trying to compete with a stingy penny pinching owner, and then they got an owner with deep pockets. And like, oh, hey, let's get Steph Curry and KD. Let's just do that.
It's just the whole. It's just so many things. The reason why, look, everything. The NBA has changed. The way players think, the way players like move has changed. Like the rules in NBA have changed. There's so many things that have changed. Like the Lakers were just ahead of the curve. Like they had like Jerry West, like one of the best basketball minds and like best GMs in all of sports. Like he's a genius. He was the reason why Kobe got drafted. He's the reason why Shaq signed there. He put together that team. He's a reason why, like, he's part of the reason why the Warriors were the Warriors too as well. He was in that.
He turned around the Memphis Grizzlies. Then he turned around the Clippers, and then he turned around the Warriors. Then he went to the Clippers, helped them get it turned around for a little while. And Jerry West is a man.
Yeah, but what I'm ultimately trying to say is that like they were good at like identifying talent, putting together championship teams, and they always use that advantage of being in a market like LA.
Yeah.
Like, and that always worked in their favor. But I don't know. I feel like it's a different player. I think players do care about going there, but to go into LA. But now I don't know. It's a different type of player now. It's just
I don't think the markets don't matter as much now because it matters somewhat because like if you're on the Lakers, people know who you are. Like you could be a bench player. Like Rui Hachimura is like crazy famous because he plays for the Lakers, right? Like if he played for like the OKC Thunder, like he's not going to have the same level of fame, but everybody knows him because Austin Reeves was famous because he played for the Lakers, because he plays for the Lakers, right? Like when you play for certain franchises, like there are certain players that are going to be famous. Like everybody knows who Jonathan Kuminga is. Jonathan Kuminga shouldn't be no household name, but he was famous because he played for the Warriors. So it's like when you play for those kind of franchises, it puts you a different kind of spotlight on you because the media covers you more. Now, obviously, with the internet and with social media and with like all these TV contracts, all these people are on TV more, and all these people are they have ways to build followings now. But still, when you play for these marquee franchises, that it puts a different level of attention on you, and that raises your earning potential, whether that be via endorsements or via your next contract. I remember when LeBron signed his deal with Nike, he had like some kind of crazy kicker where if he played in LA or New York, his contract with Nike was worth like way more when he first signed his contract with Nike because they understood playing in one of these markets, it's going to put more eyes on you. So, which is more advertisement basically for Nike, which brings more money for Nike, and so they can pay LeBron more. So, it all matters. It all matters at the end of the day.
Have you seen that documentary on Lamar Odom?
No, I haven't seen it.
Do you know the name of the documentary? Have you seen the name?
No, what is it?
The death and life of Lamar Odom.
Oh wow. That's crazy.
That's a wild name.
A wild name.
It's a wild.
That's another one. That's another guy. Look, Lamar Odom was languishing over on the Clippers. He comes to the Lakers. He's a star. He's a star.
Yeah, and in the documentary, he talked about like how like I wanted to get to a whole different level. Like being with the Lakers, it opened so many opportunities and like so many connections, and the lifestyles is completely different. Like he said, like. But you gotta check it out, man. It's a wild documentary. It's kind of sad too. Hella sad.
Yeah.
If you don't know anything about Lamar Odom's life, it's like
yeah, man. I used to his pops. I used to work in Marina Del Rey. His pops used to come all the time, like come in there. He had like a crazy like lowrider bike with like speakers on there. I always see him like once or twice a week. He always told me I look like this, like some singer. He used to tell me, I forget the name, like Luke James, something like that. He was like, man, you look like Luke. Everybody ever tell you, he say the same thing every time, but every time you see me, like, man, ever tell you look like Luke James? And then he just started calling me Luke James. Like, Luke James, what you up to, man?
It's funny in the documentary, like he didn't talk in the documentary, but it was like a picture of him, it was hella funny because I knew automatically that was Lamar's dad. Like his whole, because they're like they're kind of both kind of like tall, lanky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. His dad was hella skinny,
but
bald headed too.
Yeah, but I don't know how true it is. You know what I mean? It's a documentary, but like in the documentary, it's like he basically was about to pull the plug. He's basically about to pull the plug on Lamar.
Oh, is that? Dang. I guess. I mean, you know.
But you
I've
know,
heard
it's a
things about
documentary, and it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of, you know, their word against.
Yeah, him telling the story.
Yeah, but you know, Lamar was part of the documentary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm sure, I don't know if he didn't see the documentary after the fact, but like he was a part of the documentary, and like, you know, obviously he was married to the what's the name of the Kardashian? What's her name? Khloe Kardashian.
Yeah, Khloe, yeah. She
was in there. It was like, you know, Meta World Peace was in there. You know, being Meta World Peace. But yeah, man, it's a sad documentary, but check it out, man, when you have a chance.
I gotta check. I'm checking it out. You said the death and life of Lamar. I can check it out.
Death, they worded it that way because like he literally was like pretty much like the only thing that was keeping him alive was the machine. So he was
machine. Dang.
Yeah. So he was in a coma. He was
crazy.
Pretty much, you know, kind of like on his deathbed almost, and then he kind of came out of that coma. It was probably because he started with the Lakers.
Yeah, Alex Caruso, yeah.
Odom, man,
the bald eagle.
I remember seeing Odom playing. I'm like, man, Odom was nice, bro. He just didn't have, I don't know what it is. Like the talent was there, but I don't know if he had the. Maybe it's a different era of basketball, or just he didn't have that killer instinct. But he was just way more. He was a very passive player, but the talent was there, bro. Like he was 6'11", got a handle on him. Shooting, like he wasn't a shooter, but he could, you know, it's not like he can he can hit a jump.
He can hit a jumper.
You know, and like he can get a triple double with ease. That's just the type of game he has. Like he can get you a triple double with ease. Mark Davis all reminded me Seth Rogen on Green Hornet taking over his dad's fortune business and didn't know what to do.
Hey, look,
Damn.
Mark Davis knew what to do. He didn't know what to do football wise, but Mark Davis, hey, 11 billion. That's all I gotta say. This team would not be worth 11 billion if Al Davis was running it.
11 billion, bro.
But I will say this though, and I forgot the story of how Al Davis ended up being owner of the Raiders, because he was a minority owner. Then he did some. Al Davis he snaked the people that were the actual owners. I forgot exactly what happened, but I will say this, because I don't know how much you said Mark. I think he owns about like 33% of the team right now, and the other dude owns like 15. If that dude ever gets a controlling share or gets more than Mark, I think he may be able to like push Mark out and be the owner. So if that dude like really wanted to, I think he got. I don't know how. I'm not sure how it works in the NFL, but if he buys up the Mark is at 33 right now. If that dude gets like 34, 35, so obviously it's gonna take a lot of money to do that, or some other investors. But if he partners with them and he has controlling interest, I think there's a way to push Mark out.
Wouldn't the NFL have to approve that? It seems like everything that needs, when it comes to ownership and deals like that, wouldn't it have to be approved by the NFL?
Do you think the NFL would not approve it?
I think the NFL just cares about the money at this point. So
exactly, it's between Mark Davis being the owner of the team or billionaire venture capitalist Egon Durden. Who are they going to side with?
Yeah. Damn. I kind of do want to see the Raiders win Super Bowl with Mark.
I do too, because Mark would love. I mean, Mark would be the happiest fan. Mark would probably take his shirt off. He would probably go just like streaking, like, "Ooh, we did it." Would you
still watch a Raider game after that if they win a Super Bowl?
But
I think
I'd still watch a Raider game.
I think I'd be done.
But you know what? I would still watch it. But I still watch it. But yeah, bro, I'd probably.
Well, I put it.
I would have this.
Hey man, I watched a lot of Raider games, bro. Some sad Raider games, man. And talking about from start to finish too. From start to finish, I've seen some sad.
I watched that Vikings game, bro. The Vikings game is probably the saddest game I've ever seen. That's one of the saddest games. Just total overall games. There've been sadder Raider games than that, but that Vikings game was probably just the saddest football game I've ever seen.
Bro, if the Raiders win a Super Bowl, like at that point, like if they win another one, you know, I'd be like, oh, okay. But like I've literally seen everything in sports, man. I've seen my Hoops team win. Oh, I haven't seen baseball.
You ain't seen that. The A's ain't watched.
Ain't gonna win shit with that one.
But you know, at that point, yeah, I'd be cool. I've seen everything.
I've seen the Giants, but I'm not really a Giants fan like that. But I've seen the Giants win World Series.
Yeah, but you ain't a Giants fan. We got an A's hat on. You from Oakland, bro? It's like
it don't count.
At that point, I've seen everything. I've seen the Lakers win a few times. I've seen the Dodgers win a few times. I've seen the Dodgers repeat. I've seen the Lakers repeat.
Yeah.
If I get a Raiders Super Bowl,
damn.
Yeah, bro. I might just be cool. Bro. I might just like
telling you, bro. Like, cause that's how it is for hoop. Cause I've seen everything in hoop, but it's just like, cause I'm sure you've seen a lot of great players come through in basketball. You've seen teams win. Now at this point, you just probably watch it like casually.
Yeah.
Just hanging out, you know. Oh, it's a game on. Okay, I'll watch a game, whatever. Oh, playoff game. All right, cool. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not the same as like how much you pay attention to what's going on with the Raiders. With the Raiders, you're just like, bro, is this the year? Okay, if they make this move, it's like
because it's like one of those. I mean, I hate to put it like this, but it's like almost like I'm a dad, but you have the kid that's like they're a good kid, right? Man, look, but like it's like if you have multiple kids, you have the kid that's a good kid. It's like this kid, hey, they do their homework, they take care of business in school, they keep their room clean, they stay out of trouble. That kid, I won't say you don't pay as much attention to, but you're not as concerned with, right? That kid is like, they're kind of on autopilot. You know, like, hey, how's your day? Check in on them, you cool. But then you got the kid that's like always fucking up. Like I gotta stay on you about everything. I gotta clean up your room. If I gotta make sure you do your homework, I gotta go up to the school to talk to the teacher. That kid you gotta spend way more attention on. And that's what the Raiders with me. Right? The Lakers is the good kid, bro. I ain't gotta worry about y'all. They gonna be straight. But the Raiders, I gotta watch everything you do to make sure you ain't fucking up.
Yeah.
And it's
no, like I'm just messing around. I don't know. But I thought about it though. I'm like, yeah, the Raiders are Super Bowl. I might just be done, man. I'm done with sports.
This is just to be the 50 show. It just be the 50 show.
Just the 50 show. You just might see Samir here every now and then.
Y'all.
I might call in. I'm like, hey, Samir, what's good, man? How you been, man? Hey, you still be watching Raider games?
Exactly. It'll be me and old boy doing a Raiders 49ers crossover show.
Real. Nah, man. Obviously, I'm gonna be paying attention to the team. Like they win, they keep winning and stuff like because that's the one thing that haven't seen with the team is like consistent winning. Like, you know what I mean? That I have yet to see that, and for that to happen, especially in football, like everything got to be good, or just in sports, front office, coaching.
Yeah,
they got the right players. Like the best players are like the best players are the best leaders on the team.
Yeah,
you know, you see what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think the Raiders have had that. I mean, we've had like Max Crosby's a guy that I'll look at as a leader on the Raiders team, but you know, at this point, like it's kind of hard to.
Yeah,
it's
he's
hard
a vocal leader.
Yeah, it's hard for him. It's hard for one player on a football team to really lead and like they you know what I mean?
Colton Miller's lead by example. He's not vocal, and if we ain't had a quarterback worthy of it, Ashton Genty's too young. Brock Bowers not vocal, so Brock Bowers, even when Brock Bowers gets older, he's gonna be a lead by example guy too, because he's not vocal.
Well, don't you think all the good leaders are lead by example?
That's part of it. That's part of leadership, but I don't think that's the only part of it. Like, obviously you want to exhibit the behaviors that you want to see, but you also, it's a push-pull thing, right? You have to be able to push people and be able to pull people. And I think that, like just you setting the example, that's a good role model. And that's somebody, okay, I want to model, I want to be like him. But that's different than like, hey, come with me. I'm going to bring you with me on this journey. Like, not just, hey, look at that guy over there. I want to be like him. He's doing all the right things. Okay, that's part of it, but that's not the only aspect of it. That's like half of it. The other half is you bringing along people with you. And I think we have people that are, hey, look at Colton Miller. He's always working. He's here all the time. He stays out of trouble. But, but is it like, hey, come with me, let's do these workout. Okay, bam, this is what we about to do. This my unit, we doing this. My unit is doing this. Like we the dogs over here, you hear about people getting they'll have their units and they'll be like, oh, this is what we doing as a unit. Okay, I got the wide receiver unit, we doing this. We smashing on everybody. And like and they bring those guys hang out, they kick it, they work out together, they get treatment together, they do everything. Like, that's what you kind of want. A guy that's going to set that example. This is my unit. This is my team. This is what we do, and this is how we rock. And that can change the culture and the complexion of a franchise. But if a guy's just, I'm working out every day. Hey, here, guys, this is my schedule. Mondays through this, I'm working out. If you guys want to join me, go ahead. Like, nah, bro, I don't want that. That's like, it's not a leader. That's just a guy that does the right thing.
I think leading by example can be powerful enough where that could be good enough to be. I hear what you're saying. Like when we talk about a team dynamic too, like, all right, like for example, there's certain teams where, let's say the best player, he's probably not vocal. He's not the vocal type. Like Kobe wasn't a vocal type. Steph Curry is not a vocal type, right?
Kobe's a vocal type. Steph isn't. Kobe for sure is a vocal type.
Nah, not as far as his leadership skill. I thought
Kobe was.
Nah, I thought Derek Fisher was more of the vocal guy, and Kobe was more of the lead by example guy. Kobe, when he used to talk, it was to berate his team.
Kobe was the bad cop. Derek Fisher was the good cop. But Kobe was Kobe. Huh?
If you want to look at it that way, but I looked at like Derek Fisher's the guy that like, hey, like he kind of gave the speeches, but Kobe was like, his leadership style was lead by example, in my opinion.
Now Kobe was the like you said, Kobe was the berate you.
Steph was lead by example.
Steph is lead by example, but Kobe way more vocal as a leader than Steph.
Okay.
Like Kobe would, especially like there's two Kobes. There's a young Kobe, and then there's like an older Kobe, and young Kobe was more quiet, reserved. I think like middle career Kobe was more like rough and like, get at you. But I think but there was also the parts of Kobe where he was he would bring guys along with him. Like you see what he did for Powell. I think there's a few guys that talked about like Ronnie Turiaf. If Kobe felt you were worthy or he saw that you were a guy that you were worth investing in, then he would invest in you. But if you weren't a guy that was worth investing in, then he wasn't gonna deal with you. Which is, that's kind of like, that's not the greatest leadership, I don't think. But, like he would lead guys that he felt was worthy of being led. Like, that's why guys like Smush Parker never got no attention.
Yeah, like, I don't know, man. To me, I kind of didn't respect some of the Kobe's leadership style or his type of style communicating with certain people. Because I'm like, would you talk to someone like that? And like,
no.
If they were...
Nah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, if someone, like, you knew that they was gonna whoop your ass, like, I don't think you would talk like that. Like,
no. I didn't like that
because he feels like he can get away with it. You remember the story? I forgot who was on the team. It was man, it was a funny story. I don't know if I sent it to you. It was about Kobe too. It was
Julius Randle?
No. It was actually a situation where, man, who was it? Man, this was on Darius Miles' podcast too. I think it might have been on Darius Miles' podcast. Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson's podcast. They had somebody on there that was talking about a situation that happened with the Lakers. and Kobe. Samaki Walker. I think it might have been Samaki Walker, and I think there was like some type of game that they would play, and if you lose the game or whatever, like, you know, you're supposed to like pay up, like, you know, right off the bat. And this was a young Kobe. I think it was Samaki Walker. I might be getting.
I think I said, yeah. Oh man, was it that, or was it Byron Scott's podcast, or was it?
Yeah, it might have been Byron. It might have been Byron Scott's podcast. It might have been one of the podcasts, right? You seen it?
I think I remember the story. Something like, yeah, he owed Samaki Walker some money. He tried to like basically tried to like look, he tried to bitch him. Like, right?
No, Samaki owed, like, Kobe felt like Samaki owed him money.
Oh, it is, yeah. And Kobe tried to, and I think Byron had to save Kobe because, like, I think it was Byron that stepped in, right?
And no, so Samaki basically, the whole thing was like, okay, once the person lose whatever game they're playing, they would pay up, like, you know, the way. And I guess Kobe was like, hey, like, he kind of came up at him like, where's my money, whatever. And I'm like, oh, like, he was in the middle of workout. I was like, oh, I don't got it right here, but I'm gonna get it to you.
And Kobe fired on him, I think.
Kobe slapped him.
Oh yeah, Kobe. Yeah, I can't remember that.
He slapped him, and he was like, and basically, you know, Samaki was like, nah, hell no, you're not gonna, like, he was about to beat his ass, and like everybody trying to hold him up, and then like Kobe basically ran away, and then like, so what Samaki Walker did was, he knew that Kobe would come early in the morning for a workout, and then Samaki Walker literally came near, like, he knew the time, so he was there on the treadmill just waiting, like, all right, US, and then like they knew that what was going on, and I guess someone pulled him to the side, was like, hey bro, like, you know, like, your career gonna be done here as a Laker. Like, you know, you gotta keep it pushing, whatever. And then like Kobe tried to call him and like apologize or whatever. I was like, man, that was I never, you see what I'm saying? Like sometimes you gotta pay attention to people's character, man. Like, I don't know, like, as a player, yeah, they're great, but sometimes like even Jordan, same thing. Like when he slapped Steve Kerr, like, come on, bro. He
socked Steve Kerr. See, that's different. Like Kobe, like I don't like the if you gonna punch somebody, because if it's about my money and I feel you trying to disrespect me, I'm probably firing you too. But I'm not gonna call you later and apologize. I'm gonna stay like, nah, bro, I still need that. Like, you either give me my money or I'm gonna give you another one. Right. What Jordan did was Steve Kerr was like, I think Steve Kerr was giving him the business and practice. Jordan got mad and socked him. Like, that's some whole shit. Like, bro, somebody cooking you where you so emotional, you gotta, and it's like a smart, like, so, and look, the difference between Samaki Walker, who was like a 6'11 dude, 6'11, like 250, and Steve Kerr, like, Jordan, you pressing Steve Kerr, and Jordan, he would do like all kind of like little whole stuff like that. Like, if you didn't play good, he would tell the team like you couldn't get a team meal on a plane ride. But he wouldn't, like, he didn't do that to Horace Grant. He didn't do that to Charles Oakley. It was only certain people he would do it to, the people who can get away with it.
But you know, people pick, you know, this is kind of similar. A lot of people pick and choose though.
But I'm saying, like, but Samaki Walker is not like. Samaki Walker is big ass, like, compared to Kobe, Samaki Walker's a big ass dude.
Yeah, but he ran. Like, he ran. Oh, according to Samaki Walker, he ran. So, like, I don't know but I know for sure, like, Charles Oakley, like, several people was like, yeah, like, Jordan would try that stuff, but he wouldn't try it with certain people, and like he knew who to try with, who not to try with. So, like, you know, that's why he picked and choose, and so yeah, but real quick, Ken, man, before we get out of here, man, he said, would you rather have the Raiders be a perennial playoff team but not good enough to win, or get that one ring and suck? Hey, man, give me that one ring, man. Let's just not play any games. Just give me that one ring. I'm cool, man. I'm cool. Give me that one ring. One ring. I need to see a Super Bowl. I hear you. If this is like my beginning of my fandom with the team, you know, as a kid, man, then I'd be like, I want perennial football. We're gonna win a Super Bowl one of these days. Just give me perennial. No. Yeah. Nah. Give me that. I've seen too much dysfunction, tragedy, this heartbreak.
Man, that's tough, man.
That's Texas. Championship, man. Give me championship.
Man, I'm probably leaning towards Super Bowl, but I'm just thinking, bro, like
I know.
Because like you gotta watch bad. Like we already been watching bad football for so many years. I just want to have some seasons I enjoy, man. Like at least I enjoyed this whole season.
Yeah.
You know, like just one ring. Okay, I'm gonna be happy, but I can look. But as soon as we trash again, I ain't gonna be remembering that last ring. Like, man, but at least we won it last year. I'm like, damn, bro, we trash again, and ain't no telling when we gonna ever be good again. So it's tough because like. Obviously, the ultimate goal is the Super Bowl, but you still but you want to enjoy football season. Like it's hard to enjoy the Raiders being bad every year.
Yeah, and this is an extreme example, very extreme.
It's an extreme example, yeah.
But if I had to pick, I'm picking the Super Bowl.
I'm picking the Super Bowl too, just because it's been 40-something years.
Yeah.
So I'm picking the Super Bowl, but it's way closer for me probably than for you.
Oh, see, my guy Smoke got the story. He said Kobe. So it was a half-court shot game, and Kobe hit the half-court shot, and Samaki said he paid him. He said he paid him later. Kobe pressed him the next day and fired on him.
Right. See, but that's the thing though, because look, because you got. I don't know how old Kobe was when this. He's probably young, but you got to think of it like this: if we have an agreement, and I say if this happens, you got to pay me. And then you play me off like, oh, I'll pay you later. Then that kind of like how we said with Reggie McKenzie and teams just being taking advantage of you. Now, anytime something come up, like bro, it's Kobe, bro. Just say you can pay that nigga, and never pay him. Like, nah, bro, I'm about to let you know you about to pay me mine, and that's just how it go.
That's true.
And like at that point, it's like a respect thing. Like even if you whip my ass, you have to whip my ass every day until I get my money.
That's true. That's true. It's just well, you know what? This is according to Samaki Walker, so this is his version. So I don't know.
Yeah.
If there was anybody that co-signed it, then that would be another thing too. Like, so yeah, to your point though, like it could be a situation where Kobe was there trying to fight him, but they broke it up and. That was that. But Samaki Walker story, like he was.
Kobe tried to fight Shaq. I mean, he was about to get mollywopped, but
nah, man, I don't know, man. I don't look at Kobe as a tough guy. Like he was tough in that, like he was mentally tough in the game of basketball, like, but not like a tough. Like he's not like. I never looked at him like that. I remember Chris Childs fought him. Remember that fight? I was like,
Chris Childs like fired on him, man. Chris Childs like back then they broke it up. I don't say it was a real fight.
And then Reggie Miller.
Reggie Miller got him way worse than Chris Childs. Reggie Miller's had him like over the press thing, like firing on him. That was worse than Chris Childs. People talk about the Chris Childs, but Chris Childs fired on him and then like start backing up, and then like he didn't like I don't fire nobody back up, but I'm gonna fire you. I'm gonna keep firing. Like that's how a fight goes. I don't fight on you, then back up and score up and wait for you to hit me. Like that's not a fight. But Reggie Miller had him over the what you call it. Reggie Miller was giving him the business.
Yeah, man. But hey, man, we appreciate everybody coming through. At this point, clock out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We're going live on both our channels. So obviously, if you're first time joining us, definitely subscribe to both. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you're watching the replay, there's a special button, hype the video. Definitely go ahead and do that, man. We love doing this, so make sure it's a good way to show us support is hit that hype. But I think it's gonna show after the vertical. Sometimes it doesn't show, sometimes it does. Maybe it's only for landscape, but if it does show up, definitely hit the hype button as well as the like. And if you obviously ain't subscribed, definitely subscribe as well too. And everybody watching on X, Twitter, all that good stuff, man, definitely head over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel, man. We appreciate everybody coming through, watching the show. We'll be back later this week around the Shield. Hopefully we'll have a guest. First mock draft this week. That's what we're gonna do this week. So, and the phone lines will be open too. So make sure to tune in. You already know, man. It's the call-in show on Around the Shield this Thursday. Severe, man. Let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff.
You know what it is, man. The Severe Raider here on YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, X, IG, all socials. The Severe Raider. Holla at your boy, man. Tuesdays and Thursdays with my guy, Pharaoh NFL. 50-50 show and Around the Shield. Obviously, Sundays and Wednesdays with Christopher Protect the Shield and 805 Raider in the Raider War Room. And Mondays, freelancing, man. So, man, make sure you tap in with your boy, man. Hit the like button, subscribe, notification bell so y'all stay tapped in for whenever we go live. And we'll catch you on that next one.
There you go, man. Hey, AB trying to keep it simple. Double tap on the screen. Also likes the video on the mobile.
Easy peasy.
Yes, sir.
He's doing it respectfully.
He said he's doing it respectfully right there at the end, man. Smoke, man. Smoke.
I don't even remember Anthony Mason look like. I thought Anthony Mason was black than the motherfucker. That's
on the way out. On the way out, man. On the way out.
With
the Anthony Mason, man. Why be getting comparisons on here, man? Everybody just be like, hey.
But everybody tell you. Whenever you have me down, they be like, man, that Kanye. It's like that's the main one.
The goatee. That's it. The goatee.
The main one. It's Kanye, and now everybody's saying Thomas Booker. That's the next one. Thomas Booker.
Again, goatee.
I think it's just the goatee.
If I just share
I was dying.
Rap Cities. It's Rap Cities.
I was dying because Raider Smoke said.
Nah, it's all good.
Said Kobe punched salami. I was like, who did he punch? Did he punch somebody salami? But then he corrected it and said Samaki. He said punch salami. Over $100. Like, damn.
So Smoke, yeah, he's seen the same thing. I seen it. I was like, what the hell? What's going on? But yeah, definitely follow us all over social media. Obviously, myself, Fair NFL, all over social media, especially Around the Shield too, as well on IG and on X. Definitely give a follow if you haven't already. We'll be back here later this week Around the Shield call-in show. Hopefully, we'll have a guest. First mock draft this Thursday. RIP Anthony Mason, man. For sure, man. Damn auto text, yeah, it's all good. It's all good, but
man, his shot, man, his shot was crazy.
Yeah, nah. And 50-50 show, like Severe said, man, every Tuesdays. We'll be back here later this week. But obviously 50-50 show will be back next week on Tuesday, man. But any last thoughts before we head out, Severe?
Make sure to tap in, man. First mock draft for the season for Around the Shield, man. You know, it's gonna be uneventful first round. Probably we'll probably have some. You know, we'll do some trades and stuff to mix it up a little bit. But you know, I think we all know where their first round pick is going.
Yes, sir, man. We'll be back here later this week, man. We'll see y'all Thursday, man. Peace.